morning, Paul.
Wow. Early, Paul. Top of the morning to you. What do you mean, no yawning? Gotta be kidding me. It's 5:58 a.m. on a Friday.
Wow, some dude tweeted yesterday at 9 a.m. You guys excited to watch the Colts beat the Broncos 12-9 tonight?
Come on.
No, I swear. Tweeted at 9:40 a.m. yesterday.
Go play the lottery, dude. Mark, any word about school?
No, they're supposed to be an announcement today.
Wow. The 17th. So a whole other week off. So that'll be 2.5 weeks total.
I would be stunned if they go to school Monday. I've said next week's going to be. If there's no way. I mean, they haven't opened the courts yet. How are they going to open the schools?
Well, plus they're having to figure out temporary arrangements for those schools that are
right
no longer habitable.
Well, there's school and there's important stuff, Paul.
Right. Come on now.
Here we go, guys.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on the first Friday of October, where we ask the question, how the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this football Friday? And boy, did this weekend get off to a great football start. Woo! Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. First off, Mark, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I am much better than that football game was last night.
Mark, I don't know if this is something that off the top of your head you can recite, but when I ask you the question, what is the worst football game you ever saw? Does something come to mind?
There's a couple that, and this one was bad, but wasn't there, didn't you even work a bowl game that was like there was the playoff game that was 5-3 or whatever?
The Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions played a playoff game, I believe, in 1971, in which the Cowboys won 5-0. And Vern Lundquist did that game. So when we did the Pitt Oregon State Sun Bowl, and it was 3-0 early in the fourth quarter, Vern said, I don't think I've ever done a game like this before. And I had to remind him that I'm pretty sure you did a playoff game in which it was 2-0 going to the fourth quarter, at which point Vern said, you're right. And he goes on like a 4-minute soliloquy about some of the lowlights of that game, which was fine because we're not going to interrupt what's going on the field here. I mean, it's just drudgery. And if Dave Wanstad's listening right now, Coach, you remember losing the Sun Bowl 3-0, in which the play of the game was the holder fielding a mediocre snap and getting it down so that Oregon State could kick the game-winning field goal.
Well, I was trying to figure out what we would use for our play of the game today, because usually after a Thursday night football game, it's pretty easy.
Right. Uh-huh.
You know, which field goal, interception, non-conversion do you pick from the game that ended 12-9?
Here's another statistical anomaly from this game. There apparently were 6 fumbles, none of which were recovered by the defenses. So they forced 6 fumbles, but didn't recover any of them. You know what the odds are of that?
Matt Ryan recovered one with one hand.
Teams were 6 for 31 on third down. And yes, as Paul's pointing out in the Twitch chat room, I like me some defense, and I do. But this is being nominated by longtime followers of the league as the worst game they've ever seen. Wade Phillips in the fourth quarter tweeted out, I think both teams should consider punting on first down. Twitter, which is usually awful, was outstanding in the second half, fourth quarter, and overtime last night. Outstanding. Funny. Biting. Drop you to your knees and, oh, my goodness. Yes.
Oh, there are moments in sports history where you remember the night and how Twitter reacted. Last night was a good Twitter night in the NFL.
I love Scott Hansen, just simply, who runs one of the Red Zone channels, just simply said, let's cut to another game.
Annie Ager, this reminds me of all my friends at the bar. They all want to score, but they don't know how.
NBA preseason basketball was a more compelling product than a Thursday night football game on Amazon.
You know what, Felipe? This may be the only time in your young adult life where Miller and Moulton are not going to give you a problem if you quote one or two things that happened in NBA preseason last night. What I said maybe. All right. You know, it's early. Let Miller and Moulton consider it, but it's close. We did say last night, when we were talking about limited TV schedule, things worth watching, that the Lightning Panthers preseason hockey game may be the best thing on. They don't like one another as preseason hockey games go. This one may have a little vinegar to it.
Robert Griffin III at this point and Aaron Judge cut-in would be more exciting than this game.
And Al Michaels said on the air, Al Michaels said, this is like the 5th regional choice for a game for CBS. Man, that's funny. Out loud, he said that. At which point, Adam Schefter took to Twitter to say, next Thursday night, Washington at Chicago. Ooh, baby.
What a league they have, though, where they can play a game that's that bad and nobody turns it off.
Once again, not that baseball would want to be playing.
It got so bad at one point where it was so bad that it was interesting. It was interestingly bad.
Mark, I remember a Monday night football game in which, Howard Cosell was a part of the broadcast. So this is early 80s. I think it was the 83 season in which the Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals played a Monday night football game that was so bad. And the kicker for the Cardinals missed like 2 20-something yard field goals that would have won the game at the end of regulation and in overtime. And when he missed the last one, Howard Cosell said out loud, "This is the worst Monday night game of all time."
Howard could say it.
Yes.
And get away with it. Al pretty much did with that line, though.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing it to the 5th regional CBS game, I think speaks volumes.
Herb Street's line. What's crazy is one of these teams will win this game.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Jeff in Iowa, for reminding us of that. So if you want to amuse yourself after the fact, you could go through any Twitter timeline. People were funny last night because the game was genuinely that dreadful. And if you want to entertain yourself, find Richard Sherman postgame on Amazon. Because Richard Sherman is in need of a little counseling today because he's having flashbacks. And Ryan Fitzpatrick just egged him on. The end of the game, Russell should have run the ball. They didn't run the ball. He threw an interception. And Ryan Fitzpatrick goes, "Anybody know what Richard's talking about?"
You want it? I've got it right here queued up.
Hell.
Richard Sherman, postgame, Amazon Prime. Unbelievable. Richard had some fun with it last night, and, well, Fitzy all over him. I'm not sure what he's referring to.
Right. So run the damn ball. Yes. Yes. I'm a big fan of it, Richard. I'm a big fan of it. But, hey, somebody had to win, and the Colts did. And amazingly, they are 2-2-1.
Half game out of first.
Having played, and in fact, could end up in first place when the weekend is done. So, but it was dreadful. Colts won. And I think everybody's now going to put a fork in Nathaniel Hackett as head coach. First off, what do you think of the decision? You're down 12-9. You're in overtime. It's 4th and 1 from the 5. Obviously, you kick the field goal. You continue playing. But they went for it.
I have no problem going for it. I mean, I know both teams are offensively challenged, but at that point, are you playing for a tie or are you playing to win?
Well, and he was coaching to win. He said we had a beautiful drive to get down there, and I had confidence we were going to get it.
They threw to the wrong guy.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Yeah, running back was wide open.
Walking in the end zone.
Yes. Like walking
Nobody
in Memphis.
near him.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with the play call. The quarterback threw it to the wrong guy.
Mm-hmm. So needless to say, it's off to a rough start in Denver. Hey, some guy paid over $4.5 billion for this franchise.
They've scored 75 points in 5 games.
That's 15 a game. Just doing some quick math. Mm-hmm.
It's an easy one.
They've won 2 games this year. They scored 16 and 11 in the 2 wins. And I'll tell you what, people are really turning on Russell Wilson. Woo!
Let's ride.
Oh, God.
Just the Broncos memes are wow.
I feel bad for a Broncos season ticket holder right now.
Pat 40 is a Broncos fan. He put up with 4 straight losing seasons. They go get Russell Wilson. He sent out a tweet last night. He goes, $250 million for this? So if you missed it last night, congratulations, because it's 3 to 3.5 hours that most of America wants back.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know, Spitz. I don't know.
Poll question. Who's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL right now?
Who are the other choices?
No, you just put Russell Wilson down for all 4.
Oh.
A, Russell Wilson. B, Russell Wilson. C, Russell Wilson. D, all of the above.
That's funny. I agree with you. Go Raiders. Darvish has never lost to the Mets. Blake Snell in game 2. The Mets have struggled against left-handed pitching. I agree with you. Mets need to somehow force game 3. I think they have the matchup in game 3. Man, people are down on Dak too. He hasn't played in a month.
Oh, yeah.
So Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, who else?
Kirk Cousins.
Wow. We are hitting people where they live this morning.
And Tom Brady.
Giselle Bundchen wants to know who's the most overrated quarterback in the league. Dr. Roto, I think Nathaniel Hackett secretly must want to get fired.
Do we really think the Saints can beat anybody by 5.5 points?
It seems like a lot.
It just does to me.
Felipe, that's a great point. They're showing the clips now of all the people heading to the exits as the game is about to go to overtime.
They didn't even care what the final result of the game was.
Just beating traffic at this point. Gotta salvage the night.
All right, this is terrible.
Like, oh man, I got work tomorrow.
Yep. I've seen enough. Don't even care if we win at this point. Hope we do, but I'll listen to it on the radio on the way home.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Fired up. It's a football Friday, although, boy, if you took in that 3.5-hour debacle last night, Colts and Broncos, you may be footballed out for the weekend. So I hope many of you didn't. Colts beat the Broncos in overtime. There was not a touchdown scored in the game. There was some stat mark about, a game that went overtime and, the number of sacks. And apparently this is only the second game in history in which there was a game like this with no touchdowns and, what have you. So many sacks and turnovers and right.
Yeah, 10 sacks, 4 interceptions. I mean, it's quality football, David.
12 punts, less than 20% on third down, 6 for 31. Yep, no doubt about it. That's all right. Al Michaels getting about $1 million a broadcast. So, I mean, I can't feel too badly for him. Private plane to and from. I mean,
I don't.
you know,
I'm not worried about Al Michaels. I'm worried about the viewing public. At least he was honest with them in calling the game and describing how pathetic that it was. I give Al a lot of credit.
Pro Football Talk sent out a tweet that said, normally in the second half, I smoke a cigar. Right now, I'm trying to score some meth. Ah. Miller and Moulton. We'll rekindle our enthusiasm. Hey, the baseball playoffs start today. The NHL gets underway today. Huh? Tell you what. How about a little 2 o'clock NHL Network action live from the Czech Republic? What do you say? Come on. Nashville and San Jose. Hello.
This is really starting to make the Guardians and Rays sound interesting, David.
Got that right. And most of you can't name 5 guys combined between the Guardians and Rays. So there you have it. Miller and Moulton. Lee Sterling will make his picks 1 hour from now, a little over an hour from now. A chance for you, if you can't get that 3.5 hours back last night, to at least make some money. We'll make our picks. You can go the other way. That's gold.
Coming off my best week of the year, 2-2-1.
I know. I tried to give you a 3-2, but you corrected me on a line. That the vaunted half point came back to bite you.
Can either of you go over 500? I mean, no offense. Am I going to have to start making picks here?
You know, Felipe, it's getting pretty bad. I did 1 week. I did go 3-2 1 week. I did. And I thought Mark had a winning week last week, but he's only claiming a 50-50 week. So, and for us, that's good. That's good. But Lee will make his picks coming up 1 hour from now. Pat Kirwan at 8 o'clock. Pat, he knows some bad football. I mean, hell, he ran the Jets for a while in the 90s. I mean, he knows bad football. I mean, he was there for the Rich Kotite era with the Jets. And by era, I don't mean ERA. I mean ERROR. So we'll get Pat's thoughts on last night and see how long it takes him to move on to the weekend.
Well, he hates Thursday night football to begin with.
Correct.
And then you get a product like that last night.
RG3 also saying we should all get a free month of Amazon Prime if we watch last night's game. I'm telling you, Twitter's good. You want to amuse yourself this morning, you just read some Twitter from last night's football game.
Or stick around with Miller and Moulton, and we'll try to amuse you as well. The text line is open. 21,000 is the number. FSN radio is the keyword if you've never texted the show before.
I don't want to say it was bad, but Blake Bortles, and this will make the starting 5, Blake Bortles, quote, quietly retired, he announced in the last 24 plus hours. And there are people in our Twitch chat room that said that Blake needs to quietly unretire. There has to be a job available for him in either Denver or Indianapolis. We're talking about Blake Bortles here, to give you an idea as to how bad last night was.
Russ is going to get crushed today nonstop. I mean, even those that have been Russ supporters forever, the Colin Cowherds of the world.
Me. I've been a Russ guy from the draft. That was the Andrew Luck draft. I liked him better in RG3. You remember you asked me about Russell Wilson? I said I think he's the second best quarterback in the draft. You looked at me like, dude, quarterbacks are going 1 and 2, and he ain't one of them. I know. I'm a Russ guy. Whoo. Wait, hold on. If you listen closely, that cackling you hear is coming from the Pacific Northwest. It's Pete Carroll.
He looks pretty smart this morning. Again, as Geno Smith's carving up another team.
Oh, my goodness. Darn near the NFL Player of the Month. He's playing so darn well. Right. Seahawks get their pick, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're laughing. I mean, this is like the Eagles are laughing because they have the Saints pick and they're 1 and 3. The Seahawks are laughing. They have Denver's pick. They're 2 and 3. And don't laugh if you're a First off, if you're a Jags fan, the few of you that are, last night sucked. I mean, Denver couldn't get that horse into the barn for you. I mean, we're just trying to put Indianapolis to bed here. I mean, who knows? Maybe you could steal this division. Just get as many teams off to the side as possible. However, if you're a Dolph fan and you don't think that, they're this great team, you're just trying to make the playoffs. Okay, good. Denver's 2-3. Great. Get as many, you want Kansas City to take care of the Raiders Monday night, make them 1-4. Let's get as many teams off to the side as possible.
Make them catch you.
Right. Another reason why this is a key game for the Dolphins. I mean, go in there with your backup quarterback. You're the better team. Get the W. Get to 4-1. Just keep putting those pelts up on the wall. You turn around Thanksgiving and you see where you are in relation to everybody else.
It is a big game. These are the ones we've talked about it for so long. When the schedule maker gives you a win, and even though you're up against it, it's a monster game. And it's the same way, the Bucs have not played particularly well. They've got another one. They've got the Falcons this week. This is same type of thing. Just go take care of business. Go do your job. You're the better team. Don't screw up.
Right. Let's get the X next to your name in the standings as soon as darn possible. Don't mess around. Saints and Panthers are 1-3. Let's put the Falcons to bed here quickly. Let's get this division in our back pocket, and then we can start figuring things out.
And for that matter, the Jags are in a similar boat. I mean, they're a 7-point favorite on Sunday, David. They're playing Houston.
They've lost 8 straight to the Texans? I mean, this is their Colts game. Remember, the Colts can't beat the Jags in Jacksonville. Jacksonville can't beat Houston. We've gone over 4 years without beating the Texans. I'm with you, Mark. Get to 3-2. Feel good about yourself.
I mean, it's a big Florida weekend. If you look at it from that standpoint, I mean, the Gators have a game. They're a big favorite. Just go win the damn game. Win a conference game. Get some confidence that you can win in the SEC, for crying out loud.
Canes are playing North Carolina. Tar Heels haven't won a road ACC game in 2 years. Just take care of business. Won't be easy, but get it done. By the way, the 3 Florida NFL teams are all favored. When's the last time that happened?
I couldn't even begin to think of when that's happened last, David.
Man.
Get a tweet into the Elias Sports Bureau. They'll have that for us.
Look at you going, Elias Sports Bureau.
Miller and Moulton. Starting 5 coming up on the other side. Lee Sterling, less than an hour away to make his picks on the Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Tom Fornelli, State of Colorado football team power rankings. Number 1, Air Force. Number 2, Colorado School of Mines. Number 3, your choice of any suburban Denver high school. 4, the Broncos. 5, Colorado. 6, Colorado State.
That sounds about right. We need a poll question.
You want to go with yours? Most overrated quarterback, Russ, Dak, Kirk?
There, it's up. It's done. I think you take Cousins right off.
You want to just...
Dak or Russ?
Ooh, could put Matt Ryan. That's a good one. Could put Russ, Matt Ryan, and Dak. No?
I just don't think Matt Ryan's even rated right now. Like, who would want Matt Ryan on their team? Like, I don't hear any media talking about Matt Ryan being this great quarterback. They talk about Russ and Dak like they're great quarterbacks.
Yeah. Daniel Jones. That's hysterical. By the way, Russ ended his press conference last night by saying, Broncos country, let's ride. I mean, you want to talk about just bad timing. Next poll question. Who's going to start for the Colts next year? Well, how many years in a row is this now with a different quarterback? Is this like 5 years in a row they've had a different quarterback? Because the last 3 years have been Ryan, Wentz, and Rivers. And they had Brissett, and then they had Andrew Luck. They've had 5 years in a row with a different quarterback. For all the people that hate Tua, we should ask, so who would you want to be your quarterback right now, Russell Wilson or Tua?
They'd answer Russell Wilson. You know what John Elway thinking, Adam? I would never have a quarterback that wasn't 6'4".
Where's Brock Osweiler? That's what he's thinking. Where's Paxton Lynch?
We actually might have to talk about how Victor Wembanyama is going to be the greatest basketball
No,
player
we
of all
don't.
time.
No, we actually
No, ever.
and I'm being dead serious. You jump in and say something like that, it's grounds for.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. Hope your week's gone. I know for many of you, it's difficult to say well. A little better, hopefully. We're just trying to be a distraction for many of you along the west coast of Florida. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lee Sterling will make his picks in 40 minutes. Pat Kirwan to talk the NFL at large in a little more than an hour. Chris Landry in what is a fascinating college football weekend. An outstanding on paper college football weekend. We have a lot of key games, Mark, that will be even bigger in the near future when we have an expanded playoff in which the point spread is like 5 or less. A lot of games like that in college football this weekend. I think this is like ordering the double wings. Okay, like 24 wings. You went all in. That's the college football weekend I think we have.
Well, I feel good about that then because I was at Costco yesterday and bought wings. So now I'll just cook them all on Saturday. Just dive right in. Double orders, what you're telling me for Saturday. I like it.
Yeah.
Couple of quick things got to get in. The folks at Napa today on Boy Scout. Napa from Denver, Colorado, drove a vehicle here with over $200,000 of items from baby food to dog food and cat food to generators that they are going to be giving away at the Boy Scout on the Napa on Boy Scout today. And our friends at Clutch Vodka down by the beach cooking up food for workers again today. So I just wanted to give it up to them and all the folks that are doing so many great things for us in Southwest Florida. It doesn't go unnoticed.
So hats off to Clutch Vodka and to Napa. That's Boy Scout Drive in Fort Myers, right next to Sam Galloway Ford. 20 minutes before the hour, time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
7 field goals, 12 punts, 4 interceptions, only 6 conversions on third down in the whole game. The Colts beat the Broncos 12-9 in overtime. Denver led 9-6 late in regulation. The Colts were out of timeouts. It was 3rd and 4 at the 13 with 2:19 to go. Worst case scenario, throw an incomplete pass, you kick a field goal, you go up 12-6. Second worst scenario, you run it into the line, you take it down to the 2-minute warning, you kick the field goal, you're up 12-6. Or you could throw an interception in the end zone like Russell Wilson did. And then the Colts decide, let's put a drive together. They, by the way, have a chance to win the game late in regulation. They spike the ball on first down, on second down. It's 3rd and 1 from the 8. They get a delay of game penalty coming out of a spiked play. Right. That's the kind of football that you may have missed last night. And then after the Colts kicked a field goal on the opening drive of overtime, the Broncos, 4th and 1 from the 5, they go for it. And Russ has got KJ Hamler wide open. And he doesn't throw it to him.
And the key is it was 4th and 1 and Russell Wilson threw the ball.
Right. And Richard Sherman happened to be there for Amazon And post-game, he goes on a rant about, I'm having flashbacks. Run the dang ball. 12-9 Colts. They're 2-2-1, amazingly, because they're not good.
No, they are not.
And the Broncos are 2-3, and you actually have to wonder how they won 2, because they're not good either. What was it Tom Brady said yesterday?
A lot of bad football out there.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, some network should hire him to maybe be part of their broadcast going forward with insight like that. Just saying. Where were we? The baseball playoffs get underway today. Don't anybody be dissing baseball after what the NFL put forth last night, okay? I just, you'll have to deal with me. 4 playoff series get underway today.
And I can't wait, David. Let's go baseball.
Noon, 2, 4, and 8 o'clock. The noon, 4, and 8 are on ESPN. The 2 o'clock game is on ABC. At noon, the Rays take on the Guardians. Cleveland hosts the 3-game series. Shane McClanahan against Shane Bieber. When have we had a baseball playoff game in which 2 Shanes were pitching against one another? Huh? McClanahan and Bieber. Cleveland won the season series 4-2. Guardians won 6 more games in the regular season than the Rays. By the way, 4th straight playoff appearance for the Tampa Bay Rays. Come on now.
Right.
I mean,
it's phenomenal. It'd be great if someone in Tampa cared.
Spending $7.35 on that product and putting out prime rib. Good for them. Noon on ESPN. 2 o'clock, by the way, Phillies and Cardinals. Phillies won the season series 4-3. It's Zach Wheeler against Jose Quintana in game 1 of that series. Cardinals won 6 more games in the regular season than did the Phillies. 4 o'clock, Seattle and Toronto. Believe it or not, 2 teams who have a lot of good, young, exciting players. I know none of you are going to watch, but believe it or not, you should. 4 o'clock on ESPN, Luis Castillo against Alex Manoah. It's Seattle's first playoff appearance since 2001. Jays 2 years ago were swept in a best-of-3 by Tampa. And 8 o'clock, Padres and Mets. And I know the Mets won 12 more games than the Padres, but the Padres won the season series 4-2. And ladies and gentlemen, Yu Darvish in his career against the Mets in 8 starts is 5-0 with a 2.56 ERA. And it's Darvish against Scherzer. That's on ESPN. Back to football. Tom Brady practiced yesterday. Said his right shoulder, quote, feels great, unquote. I don't know if that's true. It might be an exaggeration. You know,
Alex is there. Alex can fix anything.
Talking about the trainer?
Yes.
You sound like you're one of Giselle's defense attorneys there, which you're saying, well, Tom, you've got Alex.
It's more like Bergoli. My dad's a TV repairman. He's got an awesome set of tools. I can fix it. I've got Alex. He's an awesome trainer. He can fix it.
Tom Brady's never lost to the Atlanta Falcons. And yes, that includes the Super Bowl. 9-0 against the Falcons. Let's see if he can make it 10 on Sunday. Tampa, a solid favorite in that one by more than a touchdown. Speaking of Tom's former team, the Patriots, they put Brian Hoyer on the IR. Bailey Zappi is the guy if Mac Jones is unable to go, and nobody thinks Mac Jones is going to be able to go Sunday against Detroit. And speaking of Detroit, on Sunday,
Zappy's Matt Flynn moment. Gets to play Detroit, who's giving up like 40 a game, 450 yards every time they play, and this kid's going to come in and go,
hey, what do I got to lose? And besides, I just nearly took down Aaron Rodgers and the Packers at Lambeau. The Lions? He walked out of a meeting room after watching some film and he said to the coaches, is this it? I faced tougher than this at Western Kentucky. No DeAndre Swift for the Lions on Sunday. And then I believe the Lions have a bye, and so they figure they'll get Swift back for week 7. And as I mentioned earlier, Blake Bortles quietly retired. He's 30. Mark, he played 78 games. He threw 75 interceptions. But Care to guess how much money Blake Bortles made in his career?
How many years did he play?
Well, he's 30.
So
he
8
was-
years in the league, roughly.
Yeah,
7 years in
basically.
the league.
Yeah, right.
One good contract.
Mm-hmm.
110 million.
Oh, no. That's way high because Bortles came into the league. They had the rookie thing, but 48 million.
48. Okay.
Yeah, he played 78 games. Making about 600,000 a game. That'll work. I got to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Why do you retire?
Yeah. Well, especially since with the quarterback play right now. I mean, maybe even he could hold a clipboard somewhere. Bryce Young, his status is to be determined, according to Nick Saban. Game time decision, as they say, tomorrow night in Tuscaloosa. He's been limited in practice all week. A&M, by the way, likely not to have Max Johnson for the rest of the year. Turns out that the quarterback has a broken bone in his throwing hand. That would seem to be a problem. Texas, they're getting Quinn Ewers back for tomorrow against Oklahoma. By the way, have you seen the spread?
7, right?
9, I thought I saw. Unless it's been bet down to 7. Yesterday, I saw 9.
8.5. It opened at 7. It got bet up.
Wow.
Because I was reading an article yesterday where they had, just some predictions and some lines, and they had it at 7, but they did the article earlier in the week.
Texas minus 8.5 to 9 in the Red River shootout. Man.
Red River rivalry.
I'm sorry. Can't have shootouts anymore? Like last night, Broncos Colts game was a shootout. Kansas is negotiating to keep their head coach, Lance Leopold. When's the last time, by the way? Mark Mangino, probably the last time that, Kansas was actively trying to keep their coach away from taking another job. But see, here's the problem. Lance Leopold grew up 40 minutes from Madison, Wisconsin. Lance Leopold played college football at Wisconsin Whitewater. He then coached them to 6 national championships in 8 years. That's a Division III school, but still, you could see where maybe the University of Wisconsin might be interested in Lance Leopold. So Kansas is trying to lock him up. Mark, I don't want to say that things have been bad with Kansas football, but he's got a record in a year and a half of 7-10, and they're desperately trying to lock him up. But he's 5-0 this year, and he had 2 wins last year, and one of them was at Texas. Okay, Bill Self is only slightly more popular than Lance Leopold right now. They think this guy walks on water in Lawrence, Kansas.
I'm actually fired up for 9 a.m. on Saturday to see them out for game day because it should be a great crowd.
NHL season gets underway today. You heard me right. The NHL season gets underway today. Now, granted, it's in the Czech Republic, and it's San Jose and Nashville, and most of you don't even consider them to be 2 NHL teams. Okay, but it's the global series, darn it, and they're playing it whether you like it or not, whether you're ready for it or not. As for the rest of the regular season in the States, that opens Tuesday night, Lightning and Rangers. Get the season underway. But San Jose, Nashville, baby, it counts. It just means more. No,
Wrongly.
I'm sorry. Golf, PGA Tour, the Shriners Open in Vegas. Tom Hoagie has a 1-shot lead at 8 under. The LIV, in fact, they may have already played. I think they just wrapped up their first round. They're in Bangkok, event 6 of their 8 tournaments. And remember, this one counts in the World Golf Rankings, right?
No.
What?
They announced that it did. The World Golf Rankings came out and said, not so fast.
They pulled a Lee Corso? They said to the Telegraph, you jumped the gun? You're a little early on this? LPGA, by the way, the Medihill Classic in California. Jody Shadoff with a 2-shot lead at 8 under over American Allison Lee. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you have it. Baseball playoffs, NHL, both getting underway today. And afternoon sports, ladies and gentlemen. A noon baseball game, a 2 o'clock baseball game, a 4 o'clock baseball game, and a 2 o'clock hockey game. Yeah.
There you go.
Wash that Broncos Colts taste right out of your mouth.
I'm actually a big fan of the first days of the MLB postseason afternoon games.
Love it.
Love it. Same thing
Love
for the
Felipe, it's what we grew up on when you went right to the championship series. There would be, a 4 o'clock game and a 7 o'clock game.
awesome.
And you raced home from school to watch baseball. That's how David and I grew up. This time of year, racing home to catch whatever league when there was back-to-back games, getting an afternoon game and watching playoff baseball right up until the evening news, if you will.
And when they used to have the Monday playoffs, game 163, those were in the afternoon too. Those of us of a certain age took the transistor radio to school to listen to the first couple innings of the Yankees and the Red Sox in 78, then raced home on the school bus, got home about the top of the third.
Miller and Moulton. Lee Sterling in 30 minutes. Pat Kirwan, top of the 8 o'clock hour right here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're right, Jeff. It's going to be a shock to a lot of women. I turn on ABC at 2 o'clock and they're like, what the heck is this?
Switchboards are going to be a ringing. Is G8 still at 3?
I believe so. And I think one of those talk shows is on it too, on ABC. It's like the bonus hour of Good Morning America, and they run it at 2 in the afternoon.
You got to play over there, Slick? Felipe, you got to play?
Because on that 4th and 1 at the end of the game, it was a really nice play by Stephon Gilmore to like bat the ball away from Cortland Sutton.
Perfect.
So I was thinking about that.
Works. If you were a good editor, you'd start that play, get a screech sound, and then have some sort of preseason basketball thing at the end of it.
Whoa. Bam Adebayo alley-oop. Drew Smith to Jamal Jean.
Or you'd interject it with an Aaron Judge clip.
And Judge will be walked.
4th and 1 from the 5 for the Broncos. Wilson in the shotgun. And the 2-2 to Judge.
No, World Golf came out and just basically said that's a bunch of bunk.
Stephon Gilmore has that dog in him.
Yep, first round in the books in Bangkok.
Yeah, 3-way tie.
Yep, 7 under. Poulter 1 shot back. Koepka's 2 shots back, along with HV3, a Brooks Koepka sighting.
World Golf Ranking received a communication from the MENA Tour on October 5th. Communication detailed significant changes to the MENA Tour's membership structure, outline of the season. Golf, the first 2 tournaments in the series appear to be the same as the Live Golf in series. The communication, blah, blah, blah. None of these changes given by the MENA Tour is insufficient to allow the official World Golf Rankings to conduct the customary necessary review ahead of the Live Golf Bangkok and Live Golf wherever.
Abu Dhabi, I think.
Yeah, Jeddah is what they had. I think that's how you buy. I don't know.
Isn't that a car?
Yes.
How many people? I mean, Kyle Pitts, Najee Harris. Do you know the players that people are already giving up on in fantasy? What are you doing in an ABC affiliate this week, Jeff? Thought you gave that up.
Well, tell me that Najee's going to pick it up. I mean, he can't. He doesn't have an O-line.
Right.
Gosh, so sad.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this football Friday. But you know what? Heck with that. Baseball playoffs getting underway today. 4 best-of-3 series. Noon, 2, 4, and 8 o'clock. Heck, one of them's on network television, which must be a shock to those who work at ABC. And the hockey season even gets underway today in the Czech Republic, although it's San Jose and Nashville, and they don't count the most. It's even hockey fans don't even count those two. So, but, you know, Mark, I was saying earlier, this is a really meaty, I don't know if it's a great college football weekend, but man, it's a good one.
It really is.
I mean,
Starts off right at noon with Tennessee and LSU, 3-point spread, 2 ranked teams.
Right. 11 a.m., by the way, local kick, and they are so thrilled about that in Red Stick. Man, oh, man. They are so happy about that. They're just going to keep partying for the night before. We got a what kick? 11 a.m. football? Florida State's NC State. That's a 3-point spread.
Right.
All right. Utah, UCLA. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. There's only one loss between those two teams. And everybody not giving the Bruins any respect. They're a 3.5-point dog at home. BYU, Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Another 3.5-point spread, if I'm not mistaken, in that game.
Right. Games in Vegas. No. How about that? How about Notre Dame going to Vegas? And BYU.
Well, first off, makes total sense for Notre Dame going to Vegas. Catholics love Vegas, David. We love to gamble, okay? And we don't even mind sinning all that much. We just go to confession and get forgiven for it. It's a really good deal that we got.
I didn't realize America's next great Catholic university should be based out of Vegas. Wow. Making a hell of a case, Mark. Continue. But how do you explain the Mormons?
That's where it all ends. I've got nothing for that, David. I've got absolutely zilch, nada.
Do you think maybe BYU signed on for the series and then finally Notre Dame said, by the way, just one trick. We're playing that game in Vegas. I'm sorry, excuse me? What? Well, we were thinking about a Sunday, but, we'll just put it in Vegas instead.
I mean, it's really easy to get from Utah to Nevada.
Right?
I still think there'll be a few more Irish fans.
I do too. The Canes, 3.5-point favorite at home against North Carolina. Can they pick themselves up from the Middle Tennessee State debacle? North Carolina, terrible defense, not good on the road. Even though they've had some success in the last couple of years, they haven't had it on the road in conference, haven't won a road conference game in 2 years. Iowa at Illinois. Yeah, that's right. All right. I'm talking Colts Broncos on steroids, baby.
How did you even great college football weekend and you go Iowa against the Fighting Bielemas?
We got a 6-way tie in the Big Ten West, Mark. Don't talk to me about this not being a big matchup. Anybody could win that sucker, okay? This is like battling for the first overall pick in a draft. It can go anyway.
And 1, 2, and 3 all have big numbers to try to cover. Big numbers.
Right.
I think the smallest one is the Alabama line.
What's
at 24 with A&M.
Right. Think about CBS's 2 games tomorrow. Georgia's favored by 29 and change, and Alabama's favored with a backup quarterback most likely by 24 and change. Right.
The Buckeyes are a 27-point favorite over Sparty.
The big Fox game is Michigan at Indiana, and aren't they like a 20-something point favorite?
They are. 22.5 right now is Michigan over Indiana.
And listen, Mark, I'm really going to get dirty on you. I'm going to put both the West and the East against one another in the Big Ten. Purdue at Maryland. Huh? 3-point spread.
It's actually a pretty good little football game.
It really is. I'm telling you.
Both can throw the ball. You got Tua's brother at Maryland. Purdue's got a really nice offense. They go up and down the field. That game should be entertaining. It really should.
Maryland's 4-1. Their only loss is by a touchdown at the Big House. I mean, we got it until proven otherwise. We got to give them a little something for the effort, right?
If they win this, they should be ranked. They won't be, but they should be.
And if Purdue wins this, I think they're going to win the Big Ten West. I got to tell you, they're the one team in the Big Ten West that if I'm in the East, I don't want to play. Because they can score points, and he can coach a little bit. By the way, that's a guy. If these jobs open up, the Jeff Brom, the people should look at Purdue.
Yeah, he doesn't need to look at Louisville. He can look he can have much higher goals, I believe.
Yeah, I think
it's all but a done deal that he's going to Louisville when they fire their coach because he's a Louisville guy.
Right. And meanwhile, I think, Auburn, he should be on their index card anyway. I mean, Lane's at the top of the index card, but I could see number 3 could be Jeff Brom. So that's some of what's going on. But Mark, here's really the big Saturday matchups. There are 5 teams in college football who are undefeated against the spread.
Ooh.
2 of them are 5-0 against the number. The other 3 are 4-0 against the number. But Mark, what do you do when TCU 4-0 against the spread is at Kansas 5-0 against the spread?
You pick TCU.
Wow, you came to that conclusion very quickly. What part of that Kansas is 5-0 against the number did you miss me saying?
I didn't miss any of it. Kansas got lucky last week against Iowa State.
They're getting like 6 points at home. They're 5-0 against the number. They're getting 6.
Actually 7 now, what I'm looking at, David.
Wow. If it gets to 7.5, baby, go. And then, if you want to really impress somebody with how much of a degenerate you are, okay, James Madison is 4-0 against the number. Arkansas State is 5-0 against the number. They're playing each other. And I think James Madison's laying 11. 11. There you go. Those are the 2 big matchups of the weekend. Forget the polls and, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State undefeated. That whatever. I mean, aren't they always undefeated, the first week of October? Seriously. Okay. Hey, try being undefeated against the number first week of October. And then you're playing somebody else who's undefeated against the number. That's a heavyweight matchup, ladies and gentlemen.
James Madison, Arkansas State.
Yeah. Combined, those 2 teams are 9-0 against the number. Pick one. By the way, I got it in my thing.
Yeah, you wanted to say Fantastic Five, but based on the awkwardness of that delivery, like how I finished the last hour, which was really impressive, Connecticut School of Broadcasting should be proud and use that as a promo.
Right.
Somehow I think you've got more than 5 this week, David.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. Okay, but I have no moniker to go with it. In fact, I do have a moniker. It's called the Ridiculous 6. All right, we're not even trying for alliteration anymore. We suck so badly. In fact, that could also be the name of it. I suck so badly 6. Right.
6 picks early to suck coming up in 20 minutes.
A lot. Not just suck, a lot. Okay, but there you go. That's it. Listen, if we had the 12-team playoff though in college football, I mean, they got to fill the field. All right, these are the type of games. I mean, the winner of Florida State, NC State's still live for the playoff. If we had a 12-team playoff, seriously, okay, Tennessee, LSU. All right, even LSU, by the way, if LSU were to win, they'd only have 1 loss, and it was the first game of the year by 1 to Florida State. I mean, Brian, I know everybody, Brian Kelly sucks, and he's going to be a big failure, which is funny because he's only won everywhere he's been.
Everywhere.
Right. Quickly, by the way.
Won a lot of regular season games.
Well,
he just won titles.
Yeah.
He won at the Division II level. He's never gone anywhere where he didn't win.
And this is the other thing, Felipe.
He didn't win at Notre Dame in the playoffs where you're outmanned and outgunned completely by who you play is not doing this guy. This is a great coach. Brian Kelly can flat out coach.
He took Notre Dame to the playoff 3 times in the last 10 years. Okay, yeah, okay. Can't beat Alabama. Can't beat Clemson. Can't beat Ohio State. Guess what? Right. I mean, you can argue Notre Dame's been the 5th best college football program in the last 12 years. And he's ridiculed for that? I'm sorry. Look at the 20 years before him. So, Utah, UCLA. I know there's 7 of you that care, but if we had a 12-team playoff, that's a big game.
Well, and you still think it is a big game. I mean, fact of the matter is you and I have a difference of opinion on Utah. I think they're done because of who they lost to. You think if they run the table, there's still a shot. I don't know if I'm absolutely 100% right on that. Utah wins this game. It's a step closer to getting to USC with just one loss on your schedule.
And in the future, conference championships are going to be really important, right? Well, then isn't Carolina and the Canes a key game? I mean, has Miami lost a conference game yet? No. So, okay, a couple of setbacks in September. So what? It's warm-up season, baby. Now we're in conference play. I mean, Texas, Oklahoma also is this weekend, and it's like, oh, yeah, Texas and Oklahoma are playing. Auburn and Georgia are playing, and it's like, really? They're playing? Auburn didn't forfeit? It's only the oldest rivalry in the South.
So that's just a little bit of what's going on Saturday.
Yeah. And the baseball playoffs get underway today.
And they're playing hockey in the Czech Republic.
Yeah. And they're playing golf in Bangkok. Huh? For no world golf ranking points.
And you can't even watch that on Peacock.
No.
And the South Carolina Gamecocks are only like a 6.5-point dog to Kentucky, and I can't figure out why that spread's so low.
That's because I don't think the Kentucky quarterback's going to play. Miller and Moulton. Huh?
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Klecko, I don't know if they'll get respect. I think they'll get, oh, okay. At least they're legit. You know, their undefeated record is like, well, you know, okay. Beat Florida. Won at LSU. Anybody remember the last time Tennessee went to LSU? Derek Dooley is coach. They had the goal line stand to beat them, or so they thought. They ran out on the field. They celebrated. Turns out they had 13 men.
Yeah, 13 men on the field, yeah.
Right. Replay kind of called down about a minute later and said, yeah, you got to clear the field. LSU gets another play. LSU pounded it in there. You know what yesterday also was? Yesterday was the anniversary of the fifth down, Colorado, Missouri.
Was it?
That is so stunning that happened. It's stunning that Missouri didn't have somebody on the sideline that'd be like, call timeout and call the official over and go, can we talk our way through this? First down, they spike the ball. And then go through it and go.
What did they give them two of? The first down? Did they not count? Do you remember what?
Trying to remember what play they didn't change the down marker for.
For some reason, I thought it was third down, that they had 2 third downs, but I don't think it was the spike.
I don't think it was either. Not that it was a big play or anything. I mean, Colorado only shared the national championship that year with a loss and a tie. Think about that. They lost a game, they tied a game, and they won a game they shouldn't have won because they couldn't keep track of the number of downs. And yet they shared the national championship with Georgia Tech. Look at where those two programs are 30 years later. Colorado and Georgia Tech. Hello.
Hey, the good news is you got the Broncos next week, David.
Yes. That's right. In LA against the Chargers. Back-to-back AFC West Monday night games. Raiders, Chiefs this week. Broncos, Chargers the next.
What's your SEC game next week?
Alabama, Tennessee.
Oh, so just Atlanta out west. That's easy.
Yeah. Yep.
Morning, Lee.
Morning. You get your power?
Yes. Yeah, we got it Tuesday. Actually, one of our listeners was kind enough to come over and hook up a generator for me. I told him, once you do this, we'll have power in 4 hours. And, of course, that's the way it worked out.
Always. You're right. Funny. So, yeah.
By the way, all the years that we've been doing this, I think you're doing something this week that you've never done. I can't document it. It's just a gut feeling. I think you're doing a game of the week that involves the Jaguars. I think it's a first.
I knew you were going to say that.
We've been talking since 2003, 2004. I think this is a first.
When I was filling out the sheets to be emailed, I'm like, I'm going to do something a little different here.
Well, listen, I don't want to say it shocked me or anything, but I saw your email. I logged off it. I refreshed and I went back on it.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to make sure it was the right week.
That's funny.
Oh,
that's like the guy that, gets his wife like a certain negligee or something. He's never done it before.
Right. She
like,
immediately, exactly. She immediately thinks he's having an affair. Right.
Oh, God. So I'm leaving tonight. I'm going to see my daughter tomorrow. I don't know if I told you she's the lead in Mystic Pizza in New York.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Coming back.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll make our pick sure to go wrong in about 20 minutes. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour as we'll go through the list of NFL games. A reminder, the baseball playoffs get underway today. Noon, 2, 4, and 8 is when the games, including noon, the Rays and the Guardians. But it's Lee Sterling time, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Lee, how are you?
I'm good. I told you all fair. I'm leaving tonight to go see my daughter in New York, be a lead in Mystic Pizza. So excited about that. And everything's great except for the game last night. I had Denver, and the only problem is I can't get that 3.5 hours back. That was one of the worst games I've watched. And my wife asked me, we sat down for dinner right before the game, who do you like? We go through this and why. And I said, well, I'm going with Denver. She goes, why? I said, because Matt Ryan is washed. You know what she said to me? Middle of the second quarter, she goes, Russell Wilson is washed too.
Boy, it was awful, and it's something. Well, we're not going to forget anytime soon, and let's hope it's not the precursor to a bad weekend of football. That because there's some great college games.
Yep.
Sunday's Sunday; it always delivers. But let's get to the games that you have, Lee. Let's start with the Canes and UNC. Yeah, I know Miami's lost a couple of games. We were just talking about this. They haven't lost a conference game. Someone's got to go play Clemson on the other side. Can Miami right the ship this week?
I think they will. So I went back and I'd watched the game live, North Carolina against Notre Dame, watched it again on Tuesday. North Carolina's defense is awful. Their biggest problem, well, their entire defense is a problem, but the defensive line, they brought in a bunch of grad transfers and had a bunch of returnees. They're just not producing. And then both of their starting linebackers are about 215 pounds. They might list them at 220, 225. They might even be 210. When you're that light and you're taking on a guard that's 315, 320, you got to make a decision. You just can't come into the hole and blast him. And they're taking shots and guesses, and that's why teams like Notre Dame can run all over them. Also, teams are having success throwing to the tight end. If I'm Miami, you want to keep the ball out of May's hands. He is special. He's that good. But I like Miami. I think Miami's going to rebound and win this game here 35-30.
Canes are a 3.5-point favorite. Carolina hasn't won a road conference game in 2 years. The Gators haven't won a conference game, 0-6, I think, in their last 6 SEC games, and they're an 11-point favorite at home against Mizzou.
So A-plus effort from Mizzou the last 2 weeks. They for sure should have won the game 2 weeks ago, and then last week, they had the lead going into the fourth quarter. Heartbreak. I think it's tough for them to get out and travel for the second time in 3 weeks after 2 tough losses like that. And they've had trouble with quarterbacks that are dual threat quarterbacks. And think that their defense has somehow been able to play way above their heads here. But I think also special teams might do them in. I like Florida, 41-17.
And we talked to Matt Baker yesterday, just talked about the way that Kitna played now, allowing maybe more of the playbook for Richardson because they feel that there's actually some depth at quarterback, so they'll allow Richardson to maybe even run more, which would add to what Lee was talking about. Florida State goes on the road to take on NC State. NC State coming off of a big loss last week. How do they rebound?
So North Carolina State was right there in the game last week with Clemson. I mean, there was just about 6, 7, 8 plays that every play went Clemson's way. Clemson's talented. So a couple things. Both of their left and right tackles are really weak. And I think Florida State can exploit that. They're going to get some pressure on Leary. Leary might be one of these guys. Maybe he makes a roster in the NFL, but he's just not a great college quarterback because he just has no escapability. He can't buy time. And with those 2 bad tackles, I think they're in trouble here. Jordan Travis starting to come on. Just they faced a tough opponent last week that just runs a quirky type of offense, and Hartman is that good. So I think Florida State, I think they win this game 28-26. Should be entertaining. But North Carolina State, they're just better, when people count them out. When people think too much of them, they fall flat in their face.
So wrong team's favorite, and the Noles getting 3.5, depending on where you look. All right, to Sunday we go. Brady's never lost to the Falcons. He's not only got to win, though, he's got to cover 9.5.
And I think he's going to do it. He's one of these guys that can sit there and just block out the noise. I know we can speculate things aren't good with his marriage and who knows what else. But it's not because of him. He threw for almost 400 yards last week, 3 touchdowns. When you fumble on the first play of the game and defense was awful. They had the 3 games before allowed just 27 points. I think they're really going to be ready to go after giving up 41 total points here. And they also go for strips. And Cordell Patterson is out. And because of that, I just think Tyler Algier, if you remember him when he played at BYU, had fumble problems. I'm going to predict he has a fumble here. I might even bet it. I don't do a whole lot of player props, but I think he's going to end up with a fumble if I can find it somewhere. And I like Tampa Bay. I think they win big here, 41-14.
Mark, I'm just going to throw this out there. Take it for what it's worth. Tom Brady has not lost 3 straight starts since 2002.
And the Dolphins go with the backup quarterback, Teddy Two Gloves, taking on the Jets. This is a monster game for the Dolphins because if they're going to be a playoff team, even with a backup quarterback, to us, Lee, it's a game that they have to win. Do you think they will?
I agree with you. And I think Teddy's going to do fine. I've watched the kid so many times. I used to finish shows on Friday night and just go out on the sidelines and watch him. The kid is something special. Well, he's not a kid. He's, I think, like 32 years old now. But what he likes to do is he likes to throw short, and then you start coming up and you start playing the short slants and things like that, and then he'll beat you deep, and he can buy time. Just think that this Jets team that give up too many big plays here, I mean, they lost 2 games by 15 points each. They just found a way somehow to come back last week against a really bad Pittsburgh team and that we're going to find out probably can't win 6 games this year. And then the last minute and 22 seconds against Cleveland, they are awful. One of the worst records we've ever seen is, I think it's like 7-19-1 last 27 games interdivision. So first interdivision game, I think Miami's defense will carry the day, get 2-3 turnovers here. I like Miami 27-20.
And the spread is right around 3.5. Game of the week. We're making some history, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Sterling's been coming on. Miller, Moulton, Miller and Moulton combined for nearly 20 years. I believe this is the first time ever the Jacksonville Jaguars are in the game of the week.
Yep. Anyone wants to get Jacksonville, believe it or not, I didn't stutter, Jacksonville game against Houston. They're laying the 7 points for free, 800-400-9741. Give it to you for free. First 10 callers. Even with a loss last night with Denver, 32-13 for our clients. 32-13 the last 4 weeks. It's not October. It's Locktober. 4 weeks, just $297. ParamountSports.com.
So the Jags may be favored by 7, but they've lost 8 straight to the Texans. So it's a pretty sexy game of the week. It really is, Lee. I'm not patronizing you when I say I'm proud of you because I just think it's cool. So, all right. Canes lay the 3.5. Gators lay the 11. Take Florida State in the 3. So he's riding the big 3. And for that matter, he's riding the Bucks and the Dolphins, laying the points. So look at you going all Florida on us.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever done that in a long, long time.
Lee, good luck this weekend. Enjoy the football.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. You could also follow him on Twitter at Paramount Sports. I'm curious if he goes to New York, he'll see his daughter in the play, and will he catch a Mets-Padres game while he's there?
It depends. I mean, she's now a starving actress. I don't know if he can afford to do anything else in New York City. He needs to make sure these pigs come in. He needs Locktober to be big.
Well, 32-13, he can afford the post-theater meal.
Miller and Moulton, here it comes.
Oh, boy.
It's sure to go wrong. That's next. We'll make ours. Oh, boy, the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
if you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All college, all favorites, David. Back to my roots. I couldn't find a pro game that I liked. Literally, I
only have one. It's so funny you say that.
I almost picked Dallas. That was the one I was going to pick. But then I started thinking about they lost on Monday night, and you talked me out of it without even having to talk me out of it, David.
Which one did I talk you out of?
I was going to take Dallas over the Rams, but the whole losing on Monday night thing for the Rams, and I said you talked me out of it without having to even talk.
Gotcha. So McDonald's is bringing back the Halloween buckets.
I didn't know there was a Halloween bucket.
And did you see the story in the New York Post about the cities that swear the most and
No,
the
I
least?
did not.
Yeah. No, Klecko, there'll be no taking it easy.
20 seconds.
Be interesting, though, if they have to play the backup. I mean, he's yet to really show he can throw the ball. I mean, his touchdown last week was a wide receiver screen.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Baseball playoffs get underway today. Rays and Guardians at noon. This is new. This is a best of 3. The 3 seeds hosting the 6 seeds, the 4 seeds hosting the 5. They host all 3 games, potentially, of the best of 3. Guardians win the season series 4-2 against the Rays. 2 o'clock, Phillies are in St. Louis. A 3-6 matchup in the National League. Phillies won 4 of 7 between the two. Seattle and Toronto. Seattle, by the way, won the season series 5-2. Jays with home field advantage. And tonight, Padres and Mets. Padres won the season series 4-2. Yu Darvish against Max Scherzer. Game 1 of that best of 3.
I think your Mets break that string with Darvish tonight. Scherzer didn't have a great start as last. I expect Scherzer to be great tonight. Great.
He's had a full season worth of postseason starts in his career. I think this is like going to be his 32nd or 33rd playoff start in his career. He's only like 8-7, but I'm not sure what his team's records are in those games. But yeah, Darvish never lost to the Mets. 5-0, sub-3 ERA, and 8 career starts. So, and they back it up with Blake Snell, and the Mets have struggled with lefties. So it's not a good matchup for the Mets.
No, it's not. I think Scherzer gets it done just based on losing against the Braves. I just think he's going to have a really strong performance tonight. And I think that'll be enough for the Mets.
And the Rays lost 12 of their last 16 in the regular season. They went 4-12 down the stretch, and in all 12 losses, they failed to score more than 3 runs. It reminds me of the Yankees team in 2000 lost 16 of 19 heading into the playoffs, ended up winning the World Series. But I know it all starts new in 4 hours, and anything can happen. But I mean, that's 3 weeks of bad baseball.
It's like 3 hours of bad football last night.
Well played. Colts won 12-9 in overtime. If you didn't watch, man,
you are lucky.
Right. Your weekend's off to a great start.
Go buy a Powerball ticket now.
Russell Wilson was so bad, we had to make our poll question, most overrated quarterback in the NFL. Russell Wilson. And for the record, Mark Miller's idea originally. Okay, and I don't know if I vetoed it or if I just kind of hemmed and hawed enough that Mark just said, all right, I'll change it. But Mark originally had the question typed out, most overrated quarterback in the NFL. Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson, all of the above.
That's what I was going with, but we went Russ or Dak.
So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, floridasportsnetwork.com.
It's close, by the way. Russ right now getting 59% of the vote.
Okay. There you go.
All right. We've avoided this long enough, David. We've tried. We've talked baseball. We've talked overrated quarterbacks. This is the most overrated segment on Miller and Moulton. It's when we give picks, and they have been going the wrong way. The only saving grace is that if you have been betting against Miller and Moulton,
wow,
have you been making money?
Yeah, you can afford that generator.
As Doc Roto says, you're a rich friend.
Yes.
If you're betting against Miller and Moulton. So here goes, David. After the best week I've had all season, 2-2-1.
We're on a roll, baby.
We are on a roll. It's a streak. It's a non-losing streak. All right. I'm taking the Buckeyes, David. Michigan State can't play defense at all. I think Ohio State can score as many points as Ohio State wants to score in this game. Lay the 26.5. Give me the Buckeyes.
26.5. Okay.
I think Tennessee wins against LSU. I think this LSU team, their defense is okay, but I think it's not ready for what Tennessee brings offensively. And I don't think LSU is going to be able to score enough to keep up with Tennessee offensively.
I agree with you. I didn't have the guts to play it, but I agree with you. I think the Vols can score 24, 27 on anybody, and I'm not sure LSU can.
And I only have to lay 3. It's a small number. Give me Tennessee. I'm going head-to-head with Lee. I think NC State's going to beat Florida State. If Florida State could only muster up 21 against that defense last week, they're playing a real defense this week. And the depth problem for Florida State's starting to show in this stretch of really difficult games. It's what we worried about for Florida State is could they stay healthy? And they're starting to get a little banged up. Give me NC State and lay the 3. Done this once before and I was burned, but I'm going back to the Utes. They burned me on the road before. Will they do it again? Give me Utah laying the 3.5 against UCLA. I think they figured it out. I think the fact that they're a really physical team, they'll be able to handle UCLA in this game. And I'll take the Utes laying the small number. And I don't know why I haven't been on these guys more, David. But give me Liberty and lay the 24. UMass, one of the historically worst programs in Division I football.
They really should drop down a level. It's absurd that they're playing at the highest levels of Division I.
I think their only wins against an FBS team.
I'm just curious, what's the UCLA excuse going to be when there's not a good crowd? They're undefeated and they're ranked, and Utah's ranked, and they only have the 1 loss. And so what's the excuse going to be if there's not a good crowd in the Rose Bowl? That's the only thing I wonder. Well, listen, congratulations to Florida State for the win in Raleigh against
NC State
Wolfpack, because Miller and Moulton have agreed. We're both taking NC State and laying the 3. So I'd like to congratulate the Noles on their 5-1 start. Very happy for Mike Norvell and his crew. You know, way to go, guys. Good job. But yes,
State will win by 1.
But I'm taking NC State and laying the 3 as well. Houston's been one of the biggest disappointments of the season. They were supposed to be one of the top 3 group of 5 teams. They're 2-2. They're going to Memphis. Memphis is 4-1. They only have to lay 2.5. Give me the Tigers at home. Dana Holgerson has been overrated at Houston. Underrated at West Virginia. Overrated at Houston. Should Nebraska be a road favorite against anyone? And I ask that very seriously. Should Nebraska be a road favorite against anyone? I say no. They're going to that very tough, haunted Piscataway, New Jersey.
Nothing like playing on Friday night in Piscataway, David.
Exactly. A Friday night in Piscataway. Boy, those Cornhusker fans, this is going to test just how much they love their team. A, did you make the trip? And B, that's right, a Thursday night and a Friday in Piscataway. Give me Rutgers in the 3 at home. Nebraska should not be a road favorite against anyone. Southern Miss is 4-0 against the spread. That's all I need to know. They're one of 5 teams in college football unbeaten against the spread. I'm getting them in 6.5 at Troy. I don't need to know a damn thing besides that. Give me Southern Miss in the points. If I lose on a team that's undefeated against the spread, you know what? That just shows just how much I stank. How much my stank is rubbing off even on teams that are unbeaten against the spread. And
are you using former welfare money expected to go to welfare for that Southern Miss game?
I am using Southern Miss volleyball money.
Okay,
to bet on Southern Miss getting the 6.5 against Troy. Yes, I am. And I know James Madison's 4-0 against the number, but Arkansas State's 5-0 against the number, and they're getting 11 at home. 11. A team 5-0 against the number at home getting 11 points. Who are they playing? The 85 Bears? Give me a break. Give me Arkansas State in the points. I don't know a damn thing about them. I don't care. And finally, I got to admit, the NFL schedule scares the out of me this week. It really does.
You and me both. I didn't pick one NFL game.
But the Giants are the worst 3-1 team in the history of the league. I mean, they are. And Aaron Rodgers plays for the Packers. The Giants are not going to score more than 14 points, 13 points. Aaron Rodgers will get in the 20s. Give me the Packers. I'm laying the 8 in London. This is a Packers home game, by the way. First time that they're giving up a home game. Giants have yet to give up a home game, too. Wait for that to happen here in the next year or two. But give me the Packers, lay the 8 in London. First ever matchup of winning teams in London that the NFL has given the fine folks across the pond. First ever matchup of winning teams.
That's good money, and you're betting on Rutgers. I just want it to be known that you are using good money to bet on the Scarlet Knights.
Mark, to review, not only am I betting on Rutgers, I'm betting on Memphis, Southern Miss, and Arkansas State. That's right. I went with the big boys.
I feel pretty good that I at least picked 4 games that are of relevant teams. You know, I did go Liberty and UMass to jump onto the I know nothing about this game except for UMass is terrible.
By the way, since the game's at UMass, I believe, can you, in Massachusetts, stand up in the middle of your section and say, give me liberty or give me death? All right. And how will that be received?
So there they are. Pick Shirley to go wrong, run the other way.
Totally.
What did you do last week, David?
Oh, Mark, what do you mean? I went 2-3 last week. I had a banner week last week.
Last week.
Yeah. Come on now. I bet a 400. Yeah. It was the 07-01 the week before that's really hurt my numbers. That's right. 07-1. But for the record, wait, did I go 2-3? No, I went 1-4 last week. Mark, I went 1-4, and you loved, for the record, quote, loved all 5 of my picks. 1-4. Yeah. And that was an improvement on 07-1. So yes, that's right. I'm on a 1-11-1 roll, ladies and gentlemen. 1-11-1. Okay. I'm worse than the Colts Broncos game last night. That's how much I suck. Okay. And I want you all to think third, fourth quarter, how you felt, how disgusted you were with yourself watching that game last night. I'm worse than that.
I'm 3-6 in my last 2 weeks, and it seems like a banner 2 weeks compared to what happened to you.
And you are kicking my at 3-6 the last 2 weeks. Yes. Felipe's raising his hand in the corner going, I don't know anything about what you guys are talking about, but can I make 5 picks?
Oh, it'll be better than yours.
Felipe, I'm not
hey, you're the one that
argue
puts
with
them
you.
online. You want to throw your 5 picks on there, go right ahead.
I'll throw on 5.
I mean, of course, it'll be preseason basketball, but hey, I can't say a word. I'm 1-11-1 the last 2 weeks.
I was surprised you didn't pick a baseball game today, David. I have to be honest with you. I thought maybe you'd slip in one and go with the Cardinals or something like that.
It's funny. If anything, I might have taken Zach Wheeler. Might have gone the other way. But
Lee Sterling, by the way, picked all Florida teams. Miami,
yes,
Florida, Florida State, Tampa Bay, and the Dolphins.
He's laying the points in 4 of them and getting the field goal with the Knowles. And for you-know-what and giggles, his game of the week involves the Jags, who are 7-point favorites, and that never happens. But they've lost 8 straight to the Texans, and that's who they're hosting. We talk about the pressure on the Bucs and the Dolphins to win division games that they should win. How about the pressure on the Jags for the first time in a while?
I'm not trying to oversell this, but I think it's enormous for Jacksonville. To be this big of a favorite and then to go win after last week with Trevor fumbling it 4 times. Hey, I don't even care if they cover the spread. Just win the damn game and get to next week.
Well, and also they go to Indianapolis next week. If they could be 3-2, they're in first. Worst case scenario, they'll be tied with the Titans. Okay. And then, by the way, they host the Giants. I mean, so let's just say they lose at Indy, which is reasonable, a split with the Colts. Okay. So they'd be 3-3. They're hosting the Giants. They should win. They really should. They'll be a favorite in that game. Now, all of a sudden, they take care of business. They're 4-3. They're hosting the Broncos, who clearly are struggling right now.
And the Jags have some other winnable games on that schedule. Obviously, they're going to get Houston again. Tennessee doesn't look like they're that formidable. So even in the division, if they could figure out a way to go 500 in the division, maybe a game above 500, get Houston twice, it looks like 9 will get it done in that division, David.
Mark, the Jags begin a stretch of 4 home games out of 5. The road game is Indianapolis. The home games are Houston, the Giants, Denver, and the Raiders. A 3-game homestand begins in a couple weeks for the Jags. It's a real opportunity here. This franchise has won 4 games the last 2 years. Real opportunity.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're in the hunt to win a division when it's all said and done. Miller and Moulton. The Great 8, as we like to call it, is coming up. Pat Kirwan on the other side for 2 segments. Chris Landry to talk college football after that. We thank you all so very much for listening. Pat Kirwan is next on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, boys. Good to see you guys.
Morning.
Hello, David.
How are you?
Well, I'm trying to convince Coward to just bash the buyer's remorse quarterback contracts of guys that were bought last year. And last night really helped. Oh, yeah. 80 passes, 10 sacks, 4 interceptions, 0 touchdowns.
Horrendous football.
Oh, God. Thursday nights are already bad. It's
Yep.
in the air. Amazon, you're going to regret you bought this contract.
Oh, we'll see. Pat, the funny thing is, as bad as it was, everybody still watched, and all they did was bitch for 3.5 hours about it.
Yeah, that's true. But we're just in the first week of October. It's getting uglier now, mainly because I watch with guys that coach football and stuff, and all I got with I'm not watching any more of this crap. Oh yeah, one of my scouts guys, he's still coaching college football and stuff, but he's like, "This is garbage. You need to say it on the air." I go, let's give it another week or two before I blow it up. But I will blow up the quarterbacks today. Oh, I'm going to get Paul Alexander. Bernhard Raymer is going to be really good. My question is when? Because last night he got smoked. That guy had no chance.
Well, if you're Denver, so what
they only have one thing to do: fire the coach. There's no other way. There's nothing else they can do.
Well, but I was going to say,
when do you
what are you willing to give up for Sean Payton? Because clearly that offensive system is awful.
He's going to go to the Chargers. That's my bet.
Wow.
All right, 10 seconds. What up, Pat?
Hey, oh, there you are, somewhere in the dark, as always. I should get you a mushroom shirt.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's our 8 o'clock hour on a Friday, and you know what that means. We start with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, and the Pinchers family certainly took one on the chin, as did many on the west coast of Florida, but over a dozen locations from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. It's at least Thursday night football's over. That's the beauty of Friday morning with you guys. We got past that thing. That was tough to watch, and I'm sure you guys, if you fell asleep during it, you're allowed. That was because the teams fell asleep before the game started.
Pat, do we just chalk this bad football up to it being Thursday night? I mean, this is only week 5, and it isn't supposed to get this bad until much later. What the hell was that last night?
Not good football. The two quarterbacks, both teams bought veteran quarterbacks, right, to save the franchise. All I heard in Denver all summer is we were just a quarterback away from being a great team, and it doesn't look so good. And they said the same thing in Indianapolis. We finally got a leader, which was an indictment of Carson Wentz. But we can get to him later because Washington's not doing very well with him. So you get two guys on the field getting paid a ton of money. They throw 80 passes, no touchdowns, 10 sacks. Raymer was getting killed over there as the rookie left tackle. I will say this for the Colts. At the end of the day, they have figured out how to win a game without their star running back and their star defender. So I'll give them a little credit. And in a lot of ways, I don't know, Mark, are the Colts back in the race? I don't think so, but the math will say they are.
Well, and I think their next home game is Jacksonville. So in theory, I mean, here's the funny thing, Pat. It's possible I mean, both the Titans and Jags would have to lose, but it is possible that the Colts are in first place on Monday.
It always takes the GM, David, to come up with that. I'm gonna say that tomorrow or today on the air. Hey, get ready, Colt fans. You're on your way to first place. Well, that's what's wrong with the division. I happen to like Jacksonville, which I've said multiple weeks here. I think they've got the ingredients to be good, and I think the 4 turnovers, well, the 4 fumbles, really, that's not who Lawrence is in his short career. You go back, he's never had a game like that, and I hope it wasn't because of the rain, because it rains a lot in Jacksonville.
There is no doubt that that Jags fans are hoping that is just a one-time thing. The Dolphins, Pat, they play the Jets, backup quarterback. This is a game. If you're gonna, we've watched Cooper Rush now go win a few games and give the Cowboys a lot of life without Dak. Bridgewater has to do the same thing this Sunday for Miami,
and I think he can. I mean, he is a quality backup quarterback. He's worth a couple of $1 million, and he's now on the field. And in a lot of ways, I think that he does some things, and he's been in this game long enough that you can make adjustments with him that maybe Tua is not ready for. Experience counts in football at the quarterback position. So I would expect them to play very well together. There is a sense of urgency there. And the Jets, what are they at offensive tackles, 6 and 7? They will have a hard time defending and blocking for Wilson.
The Jets are interesting, Pat. Which side are you going to take? They've been down 2 scores or more in all 4 games with 10 minutes left in the game, and yet they're 2-2. So I'm trying to think, is the 2-2 a mirage, or is this what an organization that they just needed a break? And they've gotten a couple in a couple games, and maybe this is going to help get them over the hump. I'm not, because the roster, it's okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're the same old Jets, but I don't think they're good enough to beat the Dolphins.
I don't either. I think that they're now. If we get to the end of the season, and we all 3 of us believe that Wilson's the man, and they have the same mindset that Buffalo had when they realized that Allen's going to be the guy. If they get to that point, then they can really take off, because the quarterback's in position. They know what they're getting, have to pay him, and then they can start buying the rest of it. I think the way you described how they've come back and won, David, a little bit of a tip of the hat really to Robert Saleh. He's a good young coach. Whether we think he's going to be good enough for the long haul, that doesn't matter. The players believe in him. And when I've been over to the Jets, they really like Robert. So I think when Robert's trying to hold it together when they're down and he's telling them we can do this, I think they believe him. I think they go out there and they try as hard as they can. So they are. Here's the question to you, though. Are they better than the Patriots? That's what we're talking about. Who's going to be the 4th place team? Are they? Let's take it one step at a time. They're certainly not ready for the Dolphins, in my opinion, or the Bills. But are they better than the Patriots? And I'd say no to that.
Well, the Patriots with a 3rd-string quarterback playing against Detroit this week. If Detroit's ever going to get a win, this is a one. But I'm not too worried about the Patriots and the Lions right now. I am, however, concerned with the Jags because they're in a position with Houston. David pointed this out earlier in the show. Houston's won 8 straight against the Jags. The Jags are a 7-point favorite at home against Houston. It should be a win. And, Pat, if the things you are thinking about Jacksonville are right, they win this game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they should win it. I'd be very disappointed in them if they don't. They're a better football team. Houston is in this bizarre experiment of renting 1-year guys and hoping that some of the kids they draft are going to develop in time for them to make some big push. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen someone? This is not the first year. I get it. The first year, clean house, get what Bill Parcells used to call hold the fort guys. But they've been holding the fort for 3 years. So they're not a good football team in my mind. And now they're going to be starting to wonder, I think, is Davis Mills. Did we make a tactical error here by not drafting a quarterback and handing the keys of the car to Davis Mills? It's starting to look like he's kind of average.
Yes, he's regressing a little bit this year, and that is obviously not what you want when you're an organization. The quarterback needs to get better every year, not regress from year 1 to year 2. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show, joining us once again courtesy of Pinchers. Can I go back about 12 hours.
Sure.
Do you think it's possible that at the end of this year, teams revisit the whole buying of the veteran quarterback? Obviously, Tom Brady's 8 different exceptions to the rule, and Rivers had a good year with Indianapolis, but Wentz now is in theory not working at 2 places. Matt Ryan, okay, $250 million for Russell Wilson, and do you think that maybe teams start to look from within for, hey, do we have a Bailey Zappi on our roster? Do we have a Cooper Rush on our roster? Remember Washington, you've got Commanders fans going, listen, if we're going to be 1-3, I'd rather be 1-3 with Taylor Heineke. I mean, do you think it's possible teams revisit this?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to justify to your owner. Now, these owners all talk to each other and they know what they're all doing. And at the owners' meetings, do you think they're going to say to the new guy in Denver, are you happy I have Russell? Those guys will talk dollars and cents, and it won't make sense to spend mega dollars on these guys. Now, here's the point I think that starts the problem, though, David. I think some guys will do what Seattle did. Seattle's looking pretty smart right now about walking away from Russell, which nobody thought was a good idea. Now, all of a sudden, his production and the compensation Seattle got, people are going to start saying maybe that's the model. So maybe we'll see 1 or 2 guys come free because it's the witching hour and you got to pay them big and you want to walk away instead, which puts them on the market. I think the real question to answer yours is the market going to fall out where you're not going to pay that kind of money for these guys and not give away the compensation that you wanted to give? So maybe you can get a decent player cheap.
When Pete decided to move on, was there something other than money, Pat? I mean, was there did he think that the performance had leveled off? I mean, he looks great right now, but as you said, nobody thought that. So go into where Pete was thinking when he decided to cut ties with Russ.
I think it was all about signability, and it was frustrating, and it was over multiple years that they knew his signability. The agent was trying to manipulate an exit for 2 years. And I was sitting with Russell at that Super Bowl the year before, and it was pretty clear that there was frustration and he wanted out and they weren't going to get him signed. So I think signability becomes the issue, Mark, where, okay, if I come to the conclusion I can't get you signed, then take what you can get before the contract expires.
All right, Pat, Mark and I had a healthy debate earlier in the week. I argue if Cooper Rush goes into Los Angeles and they beat the Rams, he's going to start Sunday night against the Eagles, even if Dak's healthy. That Mike McCarthy says to Dak, listen, it's the NFL. We have a winning streak going. This is how you got the job. I know you don't like it. I'm playing Cooper. He's won 4 straight starts in Philadelphia. Yes or no?
I don't think he would do it. I think, there's a love affair between Jerry's money, and Dak Prescott, and he's going to put Dak right back on the field. I hear you loud and clear. Cooper Rush he can't wait to get to free agency next year. And would you buy him as your quarterback? A little risky, but I don't think he'd cost a lot. But I don't think Jerry will do it. I think he'll put Dak right back on the field. This is not like when Romo came back and Dak was hot. That was an extended period of time. I think now you guys can argue with me on that, but I would think Jerry's going to put him right back out there.
Well, I like how you answered this too, because it's not McCarthy's decision, correct?
Oh no, Mike has nothing to do with
that. and that debunks David's whole argument. And I'm not trying to pick on David, because if it was McCarthy, maybe there's a shot there. But I think this is a situation where the coach doesn't make this decision. And Pat, let me ask you, how many? If this were just out of 32 coaches, how many coaches would be able to make that decision in today's world? We all know in baseball that managers aren't making decisions. It's coming from above. How many if this was the 31 other teams, and how many would buy into David's argument and keep the starter?
Well, I would say this. The guys like Belichick who have complete control, or Pete Carroll, those kind of guys will make the decision. But outside of about 2 or 3, Andy Reid, no one's going to tell Andy what to do. But outside of 3 guys like that, I think most of them are going to get the old, hey, put our guy back in.
He's Pat Kirwan. Weekday afternoons, he's on NFL radio with Jim Miller, and they host Moving the Chains for 4 hours every Friday, and they even do 3 hours on Saturday. Pat's also then on Sunday part of CBS's NFL Today show. So you get the idea. He basically does 6+ months without even the thought of a day off. And then he's foolish enough to join us twice a week here on Miller and Moulton. More with Pat Kirwan, courtesy of Pinchers on the other side. Thanks so much for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. David, that Cindy Boren from the Post we've had on a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think I just saw Jeff Bezos trying to return Thursday Night Football to Amazon at Whole Foods. Not stopping.
So you know what I did yesterday, fellas? This is great. I'm upstate at the lake house, and I'm driving down because of this place we have in Jersey on my daughter's property. Beautiful little log cabin, basically. And my daughter calls me while I'm driving. She says, "You better get here before noon because Biden's coming." And my daughter lives next door to the governor. Biden's coming. And if you're not in the house by noon, they're going to close off the street. Oh, and then you can't leave till 7 o'clock because he's here for dinner or something. So I had Secret Service all over the place. And, you know, when I pulled in, it was like, "Okay, who are you? Where you going? What do you?" I said, "Well, I'm going to my daughter's house. I'm going to do a radio show. I won't be leaving till 7. They said, "You can't leave here till 7 if you go in that driveway." So I had a whole day of those guys roaming the yard, you know. And I said, "You know, right out behind my house is where the water is. Anyone who wanted to cause problems could sneak up the creek here." So I think they put some guys out in boats too. What a day. Joey. What a buffoon. I notice all those libs don't seem to be too loud defending them. My man.
Pat, the running joke in the 239 on Wednesday when the president appeared with the governor and the ground where they held their little media event was where Fantasies on the Beach was.
The single worst strip joint in North America. And I'm
Right.
not joking, Pat.
And that's where both the governor and the president did their little media event. And for those in Southwest Florida who could recognize it, I mean, there was no sign, the building, you didn't know it, but since you know,
if you lived here,
right, you're like, oh my God, they're at Fantasies.
Hey, well, there it is. For those who thought the Fantasy had the worst production of all time, they topped it. God, because he was coming, I really got a chance to see a lot more of the devastation because they just didn't stop showing all the things. Fort Myers Beach, I don't think I'll ever recognize it.
You won't, Pat.
No.
I mean, you really won't. And what's really, to me, just crushing is that it's going to end up being Clearwater Beach or, it's going to lose its quaintness.
Yeah, it's going to lose
corporate.
Yep. It's going to be all that charm, all the little stuff that you like about it.
Yep.
It's so sad that that's not going to be.
I mean, Pat, some of what we've been kicking around is you think about from an insurance standpoint. Well, who's going to be able to afford the insurance? The major corporations. The little guy is not going to be able to afford the insurance. Never mind the cost to rebuild and all that. So all these places are, all the charm of all these places is going to, because of the economic realities, they'll all become, I mean, could you imagine Sanibel being corporate? But how are these places going to rebuild?
I totally agree with you. It's, you always, I love the Keys, and then I do like Sanibel, but when you're on Fort Myers Beach, it's like the poor man's kind of.
It was the only one left. It was really
like
one of the only ones left in Florida, Pat. It really was.
And I feel for all those retired people that are on the Bayside. Those little houses got crushed.
Oh man, I'm sure you saw it. There was one area mid-island where literally it picked up 30, 40, 50 homes and just dumped them in the bay. It's.
And unfortunately, they're finding bodies in those homes too.
Yeah, they are. And I don't even know. I can't even imagine. I know when the hurricane came into Jersey, the one that
Sandy.
It came. My son Sean's wedding was right on the beach in Monmouth Beach. The place it was at was 2 or 3 stories high. They lifted the whole building, got lifted up over the jetty and into the ocean. It looked like they plowed out the place. And how many bodies are in the water?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekday afternoons from 3 to 7. And Saturdays, I believe, 2 to 5. And then, Sundays, he moonlights CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers. The Pinchers family took a couple of big shots on the chin, but Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a whole bunch of locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. We think, by the way, it's a difficult weekend to prognosticate. We think that there's a lot of interesting NFL games, quite a few home underdogs again, like Chargers are favored in Cleveland. Can you really buy the Saints, Pat, at 1-3? I mean, is Geno Smith the best quarterback in the game? I mean, we just find this to be an interesting weekend.
Yeah, I think we're all paralyzed by the amount of upsets and strange outcomes all season so far. So there's been a lot of games that shocked me into like who won and why. And so I think we're at that point where we're not sure who any of these teams are. You got all these 2-2s. So how do you see 2-2? Even the Giants at 3-1. How do you see the Giants? So I do think it's getting hard to figure them out. I don't particularly think this is a great week of games. My job's not to make everyone think that every week's great in the NFL. I like one game at 1 o'clock, the Chargers at Cleveland. The worst running team versus the best running team. If you believe in running the football is how you get somewhere, then you'd take Cleveland in this game. The 4 o'clock games is where the interest for me starts to show up. But I don't know. Cite a game on the 1 o'clock schedule that you like. I got to watch them all, but I see some lopsided games. Minnesota, Chicago, kind of lopsided. Houston, Jacksonville, I think that you cited earlier, maybe that's not lopsided. I don't think the Green Bay Packers are going to have any problem with the Giants at 9:30 in the morning. The Giants are pretty wounded going in there. And even if Daniel plays, I don't think he's going to be able to par with the other guys. But at 4 o'clock, I see a couple things I like.
Well, one of the 4 o'clock games, I'm with you, is the Cowboys-Rams game, because
yes,
the Rams' offensive line's not good right now, Pat. It's you could call it, it's certainly bottom third, bottom quarter in the league right now. They don't have weapons on the outside other than Cooper Kupp. And, well, Cooper Rush has been getting it done for Dallas. So what do you think about this game, Pat?
Yeah, first off, lots of things you said I believe is true. The offensive line is a question mark. They can't run the ball at Ramland, so Danny Quinn is just going to play pass defense and rush the passer. And if they happen to try to run the ball, tackle it on the way. And then there's Stafford, 16 interceptions in his last 8 games. Jimmy Miller to this day will not back down. He says that Stafford's arm is not 100%. He didn't throw the ball much all summer, and he cites all these throws that mechanically look like he's compensating. So I don't like where the Rams are right now, and they are a one-man army with Cooper Kupp. So I think what you see with Dallas, now there's Mike McCarthy. He's allowed to say that. We're never an underdog. That was today's quote. So inspire his troops there, Michael. But they rush the passer. They play defense. They should affect the Rams. I like the Cowboys.
Is this going to be the worst Steelers team since Chuck Noll first started? I mean, how, I know Cowher had a couple losing seasons, but it really doesn't look good without TJ Watt and that offensive line. It doesn't look good, Pat.
No, as soon as Munchak left, we've had a deterioration of the offensive line. It really hasn't been good since he was here. That's the first problem. The second problem is they're going to the young quarterback now. He's not ready, but the fans all want it, so they're going to get it, and he's got to go to Buffalo. So we're going to see what it's like. He threw 3 interceptions. Yeah, one's a Hail Mary. I'll give you that. So let's say he threw 2 interceptions in 13 pass attempts. He's going to have a hard time. Najee Harris is a one-man army, and I think you're going to see that last year he got the ball too much, and I don't know if he's going to be effective. And then on defense, the best player is kind of old, and they haven't won a game without TJ. So I don't look. I remember the days when they took over down there. Pittsburgh was a laughing stock, but they're not going to be that. I think they're just going to be hard. They'll be competitive in games, but I don't think that they're going to be in that category of 5 of the worst Steeler teams of all time.
The Eagles go to Arizona. Do you give the Cardinals much of a shot in this game? They've not started off very well, and the number's 5.5. I thought the spread would actually be higher for Philadelphia. Do you give the Cardinals any shot?
No. I'm not a big fan of Kyler Murray. I think his style of football, someone's going to have to prove to me you can go to a Super Bowl with that. They keep going down the road of Kyler Murray's touch football philosophy, basically. He wants to go out there and ad-lib everything. And I think especially the division opponents, which I've said to you guys before, the more you see them, the more you understand how to play them. So no, I don't like Arizona. And where's their defense? I've been looking for them for a while. Philadelphia, to me, is a full, complete team right now. I don't know if the quarterback can win a Super Bowl, but they're good on both sides of the ball.
Sunday night, Bengals, Ravens for first in the North. And quite frankly, these could be the 2 best teams in the North. And Cincy has had Baltimore's number a little bit. This even goes back to Andy Dalton knocking the Ravens out of the playoffs 4 years ago. I mean, Cincy at Baltimore.
Yeah, this is a game I'm really interested in. I'll ask the question, is Cincinnati pulling themselves out of the fire they were in to start the year? We were all shocked by how poor they looked. And now they're starting to look like themselves. Why? Well, all of a sudden the line is protecting the quarterback. His sacks have gone. Those 13 sacks in the first 2 weeks were devastating. Since then, I think it's 3 sacks. So Whether he's getting the ball out of his hand faster or they're blocking better, the reality is Burrow can be Burrow, which will be a problem for any team, including last week now Ravens were ranked 32nd going into that game on defense, and they actually played good. And now they're ranked a whopping 30th. I think he can throw against those guys. Lamar hasn't played a lot of these games. I think he's only played 6 times against Cincinnati. He's 5-1 against them, and he's run the ball a lot. 13 carries a game against Cincinnati. We'll see a lot of that.
Well, and for the Ravens, they got Dobbins back, which helps. But Lamar, they've lost 2 in a row here. And the way they've lost them, Pat, this is early on. If you lose this division game, this is critical. I mean, the Ravens have lost 2 in a row, and they've lost them in ways that they shouldn't have. I think this is a big gut check game for Baltimore.
I do too. And you can tell from John Harbaugh's anxiety. It's pretty easy when we're listening to his press conferences or any commentary about his team. He's defensive. He's frustrated with it. And I think they're going to have to rally and play hard here. I don't know. Cincinnati's got their own problems. So this thing could go back and forth. If you told me how many lead changes there would be in this game, I'd bet on the over-under at 4 lead changes. They'll go back and forth because both teams have warts and the other guys know how to find them.
Pat, very quick.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Pat. We got about 30 seconds. But, we've been critical of Staley with the Chargers and all of his 4th down decisions. Hey, it hasn't worked for John Harbaugh since midseason last year either. Now, last year's team was injury decimated. He thought he had the lesser team, and that's why he gambled. His gambles are not working lately.
Yeah. So is it analytics? He's got a fairly big size analytics department. And when you don't kick the field goal with the best kicker in the NFL, you got to start wondering how the decision is being driven. So hopefully John goes go back to coaching football.
He's Pat Kirwan. We talk football with him twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. And he joins us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, have a great weekend. Look forward to next week already.
Take care, fellas. Hope everything's good down there.
Pat Kirwan joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. A lot of home dogs again, Mark. A lot of home dogs. Washington's a home dog to Tennessee. Cleveland's a home dog to the Chargers. Carolina's a home dog to the Niners. I'm just saying. Cardinals to the Eagles. Miller and Moulton.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around and get it.
If you have the opportunity to avoid all this,
Salt Life is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Life is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, I know, Yinzer. 14-point underdogs.
Oh, Christopher Price wrote a history of the Hartford Whalers book called Bleeding Green. One thing that someone pointed out and giving him a nice comment on the book, I remember watching their games on public television.
Wow.
Right? Some awesome memories watching Whalers WHA games on public television.
That's fantastic. That's in the 70s.
That's nuts. Who'd you get to deal with? PBS.
God, they could never get over the hump. They could never get out of that division, the Adams.
Well, no.
Between Boston and Montreal, they couldn't get out of it. 86 was their golden opportunity. I think they had game 7 at home in the second round against Montreal.
Barry, do you remember the name Ken Double doing, I don't know if he did Racers, but I know he did Pacers games. And he did Purdue games. I know you're an IU guy.
Yes, it will, Yinzer.
He's my broadcast mentor. He gave me my first break in the business. Morning, Chris.
Morning. How are you guys doing?
We are doing really well. How about yourself?
Really, everything's, not back to normal, but
it's getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, what's not back to normal ain't going to be back to normal anytime soon.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It's going to take years on the beach.
Oh yeah, we had a hurricane in this area last year that wasn't half as with that, and they're still, dealing with that now. Just
I don't know where all the workers are going to come from, but there's going to be a lot of work here for the next 4 years.
Yeah, my experience. Well, I mean, you guys don't have any, but just tell people be really careful. Don't give them any money up front because there's a whole industry of people that come in.
Yep.
And they're gonna do this and they just
we're coming back now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coming back.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our poll question, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com. Most overrated quarterback, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. Those are our choices. A reminder, the baseball playoffs get underway at noon today with the Rays and the Guardians. Phillies and Cardinals at 2. Mariners and Jays at 4. Mets and Padres at 8. Also, the NHL season officially gets underway in the Czech Republic in about 5.5 hours with San Jose and Nashville. Hello. 2 o'clock on NHL Network. Chris Landry is amused by all this talk. He's a hardcore football guy. That's why it's LandryFootball.com, LandryFootball.com. You can follow Chris on Twitter at LandryFootball. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'd rather watch the Czech Republic hit slap shots in my rock garden than what I watched last night. But that doesn't really.
Yeah, that was something last night. There is no doubt. There's so many games that I don't want to waste time with any chatter. I want to get right to it because this is a really good college football weekend, Chris.
It is.
Let's start with the game in your backyard, 11 a.m. That makes all those folks in Baton Rouge so happy that they play a game before noon. Really gets them fired up to not be able to tailgate. Tennessee, the line's down to 2.5 now. It was 3. I like Tennessee in this game because I don't think LSU's defense can make enough stops at the end of the day. How do you see it, Chris?
Well, that'll be the key. You know, they blew some coverages last week against Auburn, did LSU. They're going to have to play better, fix those things. The one thing, though, that I think gives LSU a chance, if you go back to the Florida-Tennessee game, Florida controlled the pace of that game. Not enough to win it, but they controlled the pace. LSU is going to try to do the same thing. This Tennessee offense, if it gets in rhythm, and they score points early, that is a different team. It's like a fast break team getting out and you're chasing. But their defense is not good. And you can control the pace on them. So I think it really is going to depend upon just what you said. Can LSU get enough stops? Enough to win it, do it for 4 quarters? I'm not sure. But this Tennessee team, while fun to watch, they're overrated in terms of their defense. People say, well, their defense is getting better. Their defense is going to always be hampered by the style of play on offense, but maybe it's good enough to win here at home, on the road rather. But I think this game might be closer than people think.
But Chris, Tennessee may be getting the kind of breaks that you need if you're going to have one of those years. You know, they get Florida first year under Napier. This is probably the worst they're going to be in the next handful of years.
Correct.
They're getting LSU first year under Kelly. They don't really have much of an offense. They may get Alabama with a backup quarterback, and he's one-dimensional right now until proven otherwise. I mean, the Vols haven't had a lot of breaks in the last 12 years.
No,
it seems as if they're actually getting a few.
Absolutely. And I've said this before. I think this is an 8-4 Tennessee team with a 10-2 schedule. Just what you mentioned, Florida at the right time. I don't think their program is going to be as good as Florida's in 2 or 3 years from now. This is going to be about as tempered as you're going to see this LSU team. And I don't play LSU every year. I still don't think, and maybe they catch a Georgia and an Alabama at their quote-unquote weakest. I still don't think it's going to be enough to beat those teams. Kentucky, they always seem to manage that game. And let's just call the east of the SEC what it is. I know Missouri played Georgia well. Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt are 3 games that you just post on as wins, and you've got 2 MAC games that they won. And, they weren't all that impressive against Pitt. Look, you can't look at past games as how much better have you gotten. Tennessee's had a bye week to clean some things up. I'll say this. They have to play better than they did against Florida or Pitt to beat LSU. Will they? I think there's a good chance. You should with the bye week. I think they should be able to do it. But that is the key because I think they've gotten a lot of hype, and I think they're good. I don't think they're special. This whole will look out. Maybe they could make a run of the national playoffs, please. There's about 15 teams that are better than them, including some in some other leagues, in my view, because their defense is really bad.
It will be interesting when we get to a 12-team playoff, though, because these are going to be de facto elimination games.
Exactly right.
That's where people like me who like the 12-team playoff, because we've debunked this whole every game matters in college football thing 6, 7, 8 years ago. It doesn't. It will when we get to a bigger playoff.
Yeah.
one of the games that here's a game that would matter if there was a playoff. It doesn't matter right now other than it's cute. TCU and Kansas are both off to great starts. I think TCU's going to whoop them because I think Kansas has gotten lucky, and I don't think they're that good. What's the tape say?
Yeah, TCU's quite a bit better. Their offense is very explosive. They're running the football. They're throwing it well. Kansas has got a good offense. Quarterback is playing well. Lance Leipold's done a great job with this team. But you're right. They were fortunate to beat Iowa State. And that's a pretty good Iowa State defense, even though they're struggling on offense. But Iowa State made the mistakes that cost them in the game. Look, let's give Kansas all the credit in the world. They're finding ways to win games where they've lost them in the past. But I think this is going to be difficult for them. Maybe rely on emotion early, but I think TCU wins going away.
All right. I hesitate to bring this up because I don't want to get too wonky. But when you look at Jimbo's offense in A&M, has the game passed him by a little bit? Is he just too slow tempoed? I mean, it was just 2 years ago. They only lost one game and finished in the top 5 in the country. And now he apparently can't suck enough. What is it? They don't have a quarterback? What is wrong?
He's very inflexible. He wins with his style, and people may call it stubborn, but it's and partly that is it, because you can ingratiate other people into the organization that can help you with that. But Jimbo considers himself an offensive savant, and his way that has been successful to a point, you've got to adjust. Schemes don't win. It's the ability to modify your schemes and adjust it. He wants to be a power run team, run play action, maybe run some boot action. The offensive line's not good. They don't have a receiver right now that's experienced that can get open. They've got one running back that's really special, and the quarterback position is a mess right now. And now got the one guy that's been able to function a little bit, emphasis on that, is now injured. So no, look, players win, but like this is what we talked about with Kansas. They can scheme you with a way to get more out of what their personnel has. Jimbo can't do that. Defense is pretty good, and so therefore their defense is getting worn down quite a bit. So their defense doesn't look all that good, and they're young. And this is part of what, when you have the high expectations. See, I thought they were probably an 8-4 team, 9-3 at best going into the season. They're not going to make that. So, but most people are like buying the hype of the recruiting. What does a recruiting class do for this year? Last year's recruiting, it doesn't. They don't have as much personnel on offense that's ready to play as possible. Quick story. Well, I was doing some work for Nick at LSU at the time, and Jimbo was on the staff. He had a player there by the name of Skylar Green, an explosive playmaker, played slot. And I was sat in some meetings, and Nick said, we got to get you guys. Coach, he doesn't know how to do it. He says, Jimbo, and I'm speaking of Jimbo, get I'll clean it up, bleeping guy the ball. Teach him 2 things he can do well. Get him on the bleeping field. That's Jimbo. You got to do everything a certain way, and you got to get guys that are playmakers on the field and adjust your style. Everybody has to adjust to Jimbo, and that's why it's been a calamity of problems, because you don't have the talent to run what he likes to run.
Florida State, North Carolina State, both coming off of losses and tough games. North Carolina State, to me, more physical, and Florida State a little banged up. When you look at this game, what do you see, Chris?
Yeah, North Carolina State is physical. They're good defensively. But the quarterback, Devin Leary, a lot of hype on him. They have not been good on offense, and that's been a problem. And that's where I think Florida State's got a shot here. But I think NC State's the better team. But they won't have to defend Wake is so good on offense, weak on defense. NC State's a little bit more balanced. It really depends on how NC State's offense if they can get a rhythm here. I think they're the second most complete team in the ACC. Wake's the better offense. Yeah, but maybe Florida State can. I think they can challenge them. Maybe they can pull one out here if they get NC State's offense playing left-handed.
And NC State has injuries at the tackle position, and maybe Florida State can take advantage of that. When is the last time Texas has been a 9-point favorite against Oklahoma? What do you see about Oklahoma? They're another one. You look at the team, Notre Dame, A&M, Oklahoma, all in the top 10, all look to be a bit of a mess. When you look at Oklahoma, what do you see? Is Texas really a 9-point favorite?
I see in Brent Venables trying to run a hyper-aggressive defensive style. And I understand trying to create that culture. That's what he's about. That's what he's always coached. His first stint at Oklahoma when they had really good talent, and certainly at Clemson when they had a lot of talent. Problem is, he doesn't have the playmakers on defense that when you're hyper-aggressive, you really compromise yourself and guys getting out of position. So they're giving up tons of plays. Look, their offense, though, with Dylan Gabriel went out, do you realize that they had the ball for like a minute and 56 seconds in the first quarter last week? Their defense is not good, and they're on the field all the time. So if their offense is not possessing the football, and TCU controlled the entire game offensively, not just with points, but possession, that's what's wrong with Oklahoma. They don't have the defensive personnel to run what Brent wants to run. He's got to simplify things a little bit so that they don't get embarrassed in other games, which they're capable of losing, particularly if their offense is, devoid of an experienced quarterback like Dylan Gabriel.
Michigan, Clemson, or USC? Which of those three is closest to the big three?
Clemson, because their offense is starting to click a little bit, and they've got a schedule. And I know you're saying who's better, and they got the easiest path. But because of that path, they can really work on things and develop. They play more players in a game, like they get on the field, than anybody in major college football because their schedule is favorable enough to do it. And their defense is still pretty good. I know the secondary is vulnerable, but I still think they've got more playmaking ability, a little bit over Clemson at this point. USC still defensively would have a hard time. I'm not as impressed with USC. I've been more impressed with Michigan than USC to this point. Not offensively, though. We know they were really good.
Is there anything to be concerned about with Georgia? They had a lackluster effort against a MAC school, and quite frankly, Missouri outplayed them on Saturday. They just weren't good enough to finish the deal.
Not overly concerned. Here's the thing: their depth is now starting. Guys that played a lot last year, and you got a lot of youth. And a lot of those guys with youth, you got immaturity and kind of being ready to play and everything. I think that's the biggest part of it. Look, they're not as good as last year's team. I think everyone jumped the gun again when they blew out Oregon. Oh, my God, no one's going to touch them. Well, then, based on that expectation, no, you're not going to be as good. But there's no question that they got, bullied at the line of scrimmage by Missouri because they really weren't ready to take the punch. So I think they'll be fine. But I think they're one of the four best teams, one of the three best teams in the country. But they're just not as good as last year.
Quickly, if you had to make a pick, BYU, Notre Dame on a neutral field. Notre Dame's about a 3.5-point favorite.
BYU's been a little up and down, but I still like the best BYU performance I've seen on tape this year than Notre Dame. So I think there's a better chance if Notre Dame can make some plays offensively in the passing game, that'll be the difference. Because I think beating Notre Dame is maybe a little bit better, but I think BYU attacks a little bit better and been a little bit more. Their A game has been better, so I would give them the edge there.
Mark, if Notre Dame can win this one, they may just run the table to USC. All right, we looked at their schedule. It's possible.
It is favorable.
Chris, as always, appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Hey, enjoy the games, guys. Take care. Appreciate you having me.
Chris Landry from LandryFootball.com, LandryFootball.com. You can follow him on Twitter at LandryFootball. And if you don't know much about Chris Landry, he is an experienced football guy. He's worked in the front offices in the NFL. As you could tell, he was part of Nick Saban's staff at LSU. He is hired by Nick and Kirby and a lot of coaches to do work for him as kind of a consultant and a freelancer still to this day. So he's a hardcore football guy, and we like him, and we hope you do too, Chris Landry.
Breaking down the college games as well as anyone, and it is a really good week. He's another one, David. Boy, I tell you, we both picked against Florida State. Lee picked Florida State. Chris gives him a pretty good shot. I mean, it's time to empty a bank account on the Seminoles based on Miller and Moulton's picks.
That's right. The pros, kind of like the Noles, and the amateurs, well, we are amateurs. Whew, man. So, and for the record, Lee Sterling likes all the Florida teams this week. He's taking the Canes, he's taking the Gators and laying the points. He's taking the Noles with the points. He's laying the points with the Bucks and the Dolphins. And his game of the week's the Jags. We don't know who he likes, but he even included Jacksonville in his game of the week.
All Florida all the time, and that's what we do on the Florida Sports Network, and that's why Lee picks those games every single week on the show. Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, Lake City. We thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the football this weekend. The bonus hour in the 239 is on the other side with Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, Adam, I'm serious. It's still a disaster zone because that was a big ass storm that caused similar type destruction. Three years later, I mean, are we talking about still, piles of wood on the side of the road and Yeah, I think Auburn's going to get destroyed.
I didn't have the guts to play it.
I think it's going to be like 45-7. I think he gets fired walking off the field.
Urban to Auburn.
That would just be legendary.
It's a good T-shirt to start selling around there too.
No doubt. Telling you, if I'm Auburn, I'll talk to Jeff Prom.
Can you just stop with all the? Can I just live in this fantasy world where Urban's going to Auburn for 5 minutes?
Well, you can still live in that world. I'm not.
Oh, really? So that's what I'm most worried about. See, I think it'll be a little different in Fort Myers Beach because it's a city in and of itself. But it's what I'm scared of.
We do games here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to throw in my little cute story in the second segment.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Then you have all your cute stories in the third segment.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the bonus hour. Our final hour of the week. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, and our final thoughts all coming up in roughly 40 minutes. About 20 minutes from now, where is it that your city ranks on the list? And you'll like the list coming up. Baseball playoffs get underway today very quickly, Mark. All right, obviously the home teams are quote-unquote favored. In this particular case, they all won more games than the visiting teams, and they're hosting the first two, if not all three games of their respective series. Tampa Bay at Cleveland, Philly at St. Louis, Seattle at Toronto, San Diego at the Mets. How many quote-unquote upsets do we get?
Rays.
Look at you.
Not betting against the Rays, David.
That's smart. Got to be honest with you. Both teams offensively challenged. They just played a recent 3-game series. All 3 games were one-run games. 2 of them went extra innings. Cleveland won 4 of the 6 between the two.
But extra inning games don't matter as much anymore because we'll actually not start with a runner on second base.
Well, that is true. That is true. The pitcher will actually start from the full windup. It'll be fantastic. I actually think the Padres are going to beat the Mets. I think it's about as bad a matchup as the Mets could have in a 3-game series. You would think if you're throwing Scherzer and DeGrom that how could you have a bad matchup? DeGrom has not pitched well the last 3 weeks. Scherzer just had 1 start. He said he knew what he did wrong. He was kind of throwing across his body. He said, I'll fix it for my next start. Well, that's tonight. Mark, I think tonight's the series, though. If Darvish beats him, I love Blake Snell against the Mets tomorrow. So
it's why I think Scherzer is going to be great tonight. And he might have to be, David.
Yeah. Darvish 5-0, sub-3 ERA, and 8 career starts against the Mets.
And I'm totally with you that it's the game to watch tonight as far as baseball goes. I'm with you that tonight's the series in Padres Mets.
Believe it or not, I think I'm going to take the Phillies over the Cardinals, and it's dumb betting against the Cardinals, just like it's dumb betting against the Braves. But I in a 3-game series, like I like Wheeler tonight. I think they win game 1. And St. Louis's lineup is really right-handed. Well, that's good because Phillies pitching is all right-handed. I think I like the Phillies. So those are my two. National League, I'll go with the road teams. American League, I'll go with the home teams.
And I'm going with the Rays.
Good for you.
They get going at noon today.
Yes, they do.
Because they've told us that nobody cares about Rays Guardians, and they are sticking that game at noon on a Friday.
Correct. We think the only reason Seattle-Toronto got the 4 o'clock slot is because they didn't want Mariners fans to have to 9 a.m. take in their first playoff game in 21 years. So a little sympathy to the Mariners fan. But if you think about it,
you're totally right on that, because it just in my head, I'm like, well, Toronto north of the border, you'd stick that game early. You're so right that someone because they tried to put that game in the room, and someone in the back of the room sheepishly put their hand half up, and they went, "What this time, Miller?"
I mean,
guys,
literally,
that would be 9 a.m.
Correct. Right. Imagine the grief we'll get. Imagine the grief CBS is getting for not taking Tennessee LSU. That's the kind of grief that we'd get.
No one's going to watch this game. We get it, but we can't tell Seattle not to watch it either.
Right. 21 years they waited for this. We're going to start the game at 9:05 a.m. Come on. I mean, what heartless blankety blanks are we?
Yep.
By the way, if you're ESPN, you're like, hold on a second. Let me get this straight. They gave us Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Seattle, and Toronto. Could we put together 4 franchises that could give us less ratings than these 4? My goodness. I mean, in the National League, at least, you get the Cardinals, Phillies, Mets, Padres, leaning into the Dodgers and the Braves. Okay. But man, in the American League first round, 317 people watch these games.
Right. 3 really good markets for baseball and San Diego in the National League. I mean, you've got the New York market, you got San Diego, you got Philadelphia. Oh my goodness. The American League is just a disaster with this. All right. You want to pick some NFL games?
I do. I have to. You and I both, at least from a betting standpoint, are really intimidated by this week's slate. I don't know if we're as intimidated in terms of picking the straight up winners, but you and I both very intimidated picking who's going to cover.
We're both going to go Green Bay Sunday morning. Obviously, the Giants are a bad football team. David, actually, it's the only game you put on your card this week was Green Bay laying the points. So,
I don't think the Giants score more than 13, which means Green Bay has to score 21 or more to cover, and I think they score 24 or so.
If I had the guts, and I don't, I would have taken the Lions and the points. Who's starting quarterback for New England?
Bailey Zappi.
Forgot his first name already. Bailey Zappi.
Mm-hmm. 4th round pick out of Western Kentucky.
That sounds like names you'd name your dog. Come here, Zappy. Zappy, here, boy. Here, Zappy. Zappy, get out of the garbage.
Have you seen what he looks like also? He looks like Mac Jones in a Netflix series, like someone playing Mac Jones.
He had a terrific preseason for what it's worth, and he was good enough. Belichick doesn't like to keep 3 quarterbacks. He kept 3 on the roster. They did not want to lose him. They were convinced if they put him through waivers, somebody would claim him. And he played well last week in relief. And he's going to get the start if Mac Jones can't go because Hoyer's on the IR.
Give me the Lions.
I'll take the Patriots. Worst defense in the league.
I know.
I mean, if they could score 24 at Lambeau against the Packers defense, I think they'll score in the 30s at home. And I think Belichick will get one from Jared Goff. He's beaten them before.
Steelers and Bills. The only question in this game is, does Buffalo cover? If I were to bet it, I would actually bet Buffalo to cover, David.
Yeah, the Steelers are going to drop to 1-4. And then the Steelers have to host Tampa Bay. They have to go to Miami. They have to go to Philadelphia. Then they host the Saints. They play the Bengals. I mean, Mark, could the Steelers be like 2-8 when this run is done here? I mean, 2-touchdown underdog to the Bills. Okay. They're already a 7-point dog at home against Tampa Bay. Imagine on a Sunday night what they're going to be in Miami. They're going to be a 9-10-point dog. They're going to be 12-point dog or more at Philadelphia. I mean, Mark, they've lost 3 in a row. Are they going to lose 7, 8 in a row?
Very well could. Very well could. Because the offensive line is one of the worst in the league. And without Watt, they're not able to put a lot of pressure on defensively. All right. Just because this is the order they are on my phone, David. Dolphins and Jets. I say Teddy gets it done. I think Miami wins this game. I think it'll be a close game, but I'll take the Dolphins to get it done with their backup quarterback.
I will as well. They're the better team. They need to be mature enough to go there, play a clean game, take care of business. Yes, the Jets are 2-2. A, they're 0-2 at home, and they lost them both by double digits. And B, they've been trailing by 2 scores or more with 10 minutes to go in all 4 of their games. The Giants are not a 3-1 team. I don't think the Jets are a 2-2 team either. I think both teams have overachieved on the scoreboard compared to what they are on the field.
The Bucs are a 10-point favorite against Atlanta. The only question is, do they cover? Brady's never lost to the Falcons. That will continue. Would like to see the offense be a little more productive in this game. Everybody's back. They're as healthy as they've been in the regular season for this game.
Well, here's what I want to see. Yeah, the Falcons rushed for over 200 against Cleveland. Cleveland rushed for $170 against Atlanta. I'd like to see Lenny get a little something going this week. It'd be alarming to me if Tampa Bay couldn't run the ball a little bit against Atlanta, the game within the game. And Mark, something's going on because this game 36 hours ago was 8.5, and now it's up to 10. It was 9.5 when our show started. It's now 10. So all the money in the world is coming in on Tampa. Brady hasn't lost 3 straight starts in 20 years.
Maybe I'm buying fool's gold here, but I'm not buying the Saints. And Seattle's playing good football right now. I think Seattle goes on the road in one of the most hostile environments in the league and gets a W against New Orleans.
I'm taking New Orleans. It's their season. Simple as that. They lose to put a fork in them.
I think the Jags get it done against the Texans, breaking the 8-game losing streak against the Texans. They have to. It's not a desperate game, but it should be for Jacksonville. They should be playing this game like they're 1-3.
So they kept the streak going at home against the Colts. They finally went on the road and won a road game. They hadn't done that in over 2 years. So now this is another streak. Can they burst the streak against Houston? I say they do. I don't know if I'd lay the points, but I say they get out of there 24-20 and they take a winning record to Indianapolis and they'll be the first place team.
Does your guy RT17 get it done against Washington on the road?
Are you serious? I mean, is that a serious question?
Yeah.
I mean, you asking me whether or not I think the Tennessee Titans are going to lose a toss-up game involving the Tennessee Titans, and you're wondering whether or not I think the Titans will win. Please. Of course they're going to win. Lay the 1.5.
I think you're right. Dotson's out for Washington. I think that will affect them. It makes it a little easier to cover. He's been pretty good so far. I'll take the Vikings against the Bears. I think that's a pretty simple pick there. David, I don't know if you disagree with me. I can't think you're taking the Bears because, well, you haven't taken them this year as far as I know.
No, I still think they are on the clock, even though they're 2-2. But, hey, that'd make the Vikings 4-1 with their only loss at Philly.
San Francisco's at Carolina. They're a pretty big favorite in that game. Give me the Niners there.
Okay. All right. First off, it's my Monday night theory. Team that won on Monday night. Secondly, they're traveling 3,000 miles. Third, they're playing the 1 o'clock game, which is 10 a.m. for them. It is true. Oh, is it late?
4 o'clock game.
Damn. I was counting on those 3 hours. All right. If I took the Saints, I got to take Carolina. It's their season. And Matt, by the way, Brian Harsin, Matt Rule, which one gets fired this weekend? both. Could be.
Could be both, David.
Yeah.
It very well.
I'm taking the upset with Carolina.
Taking the upset with Carolina. We got a couple more games in the 425 slot to get to. We'll get to them, and then David's got a list. You want to be on this list. That's next. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Damn, Johnny. I actually think Carmine's going to end up being right.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they're withholding information for now because everything's going through the coroner's office. Anybody doing anything this weekend?
Going out to dinner tomorrow night.
I'm going to the 305.
Good for you.
Going to
doing
my UNC.
Oh, okay. Good for you. Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you wait till like the first play of the second quarter and take a shot of what the stadium looks like?
First play of the second quarter.
Yeah, because I want to give everybody a chance. They're there, or late first quarter before they go to the bathroom and before they go maybe grab a beverage. Just late first quarter.
I will.
Take a picture of what it looks like.
I will. We sit right above the visiting section, so I wonder. I'm curious, like how many UNC fans are there?
Where are you going, Mark?
Somewhere down in Naples. There's like 6 of us going.
Oh, okay, good.
We're acting like we have a social life, apparently.
Well, all 6 of you make it through okay, or is there a hard? Good.
Yeah, they just live in the neighborhood next.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. Today was the day when. What's on tap? Final thoughts. All roughly 20 minutes away. Coming up in a handful of minutes. Do you make the list?
All right, we got to get through a couple of games quickly. We went a little long with the NFL games. Cowboys or Rams? Who do you like, David?
I should like the Cowboys.
Undefeated Cooper Rush.
I know. I'm going to take the Rams. I don't trust them.
I like the Cowboys.
And you should.
The Rams' offensive line is garbage right now. And I think Dallas is going to get after it. I actually think I was going to pick this game and just didn't have the guts. David talked me out of it without saying anything. The theory on the Monday night team losing the next week.
Here's another thing that I believe. I think they're going to line Kupp up against Diggs a lot. They're going to do it schematically, and Kupp is a nightmare for everybody, but he's a total nightmare for Diggs because Diggs does not have good technique, and Kupp is a great route runner. So Rams don't have much else, though, Mark.
I'm taking Philly over the Cardinals. I'm thinking you're doing the same, David.
I am, but I actually think they'll be tested.
And I like Baltimore Sunday night.
I like Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's the Bengals, Joe Burrow. Look, I tell you, I have a crush.
And you've had it from the get-go. This is nothing new.
No, I had it 2019 when he was still at LSU.
Right.
Yep.
So there's the NFL games. We'll get to Monday night's game on Monday. David, we got to kind of throw something in here really quickly before the list because we completely forgot once again to do our clutch play of the day. So, Felipe, I know you're ready on the other side. Give it to me.
Oh, yeah. Stephon Gilmore, game-winning defensive play.
Surveys, good protection, slides, fires, broken up in the end zone. Gilmore on Sutton. So the defensive player of the year a couple of years back, and somehow, some way, the Indianapolis Colts, who took their first lead of the game on that field goal, pull out a 12-9 victory.
That's him.
And the folks at Clutch are out on San Carlos Boulevard feeding and giving away supplies to residents and workers on Fort Myers Beach. They've been doing it all week. I know I talked to Anthony yesterday, and apparently some of the Dolphins tailgaters from Seaside, they're going to try to set up some TVs for Sunday so people can actually watch the game there too. So Clutch Vodka, Clutch Play of the Day, ClutchSpirits.com when you're putting up your drinks, and check them out soon at Total Wine. I'm telling you, it's vodka without any bite at all. It's delicious. David, you could say it's Clutch.
With a K. So they do surveys of everything, Mark. I mean, hence we have lists. Our lists have lists. So the tutoring platform Preply, never heard of it before. They surveyed over 1,500 people living in 30 major cities across the U.S. to pinpoint what people in what city are most likely to swear.
The hell are you talking about?
Exactly. Only worse. I
Right.
don't think that would make the list.
No.
Although they have the most list and the least list. So they ranked the 30 cities. Now, everyone's guess is going to be that New York is number one, right?
It should be.
Most cursing. It actually is the city where they curse amongst the least amount of time, according to this survey. Boston, by the way, second least amount of cursing.
I don't buy the list.
I'm with you. Between those two cities. Now, Philadelphia, top 5 cursing.
Now, you would think maybe Washington, D.C., because it's where our government is. That should be number one swearing town.
D.C., by the way, 6th most.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. They're always angry about something there.
Right.
At least half of them.
By the way, the 2 cities in which they swear the least, Phoenix and Portland.
I'm mad you didn't allow me to guess, because I'm telling you right now, I was going to guess Portland.
I know you would have. You've got friends there.
They're nice.
Right.
Everybody's
Tree huggers. Sure.
nice.
Right.
Yeah.
What are they angry about? Milwaukee is a city in which apparently they don't swear very much. They obviously have not been in the city after a Packers loss. All right.
For a city that drinks that much, you would think they would swear a lot.
Exactly. The number 1 city in America for cursing.
Detroit.
Wow. That's an interesting guess. No, Detroit, in fact, kind of towards the bottom third in terms of swearing. Yeah.
Can I guess?
I don't know if it's top 30 cities. This is a city that's kind of like at the bottom of the top 30 in terms of market size. I'm giving you a big hint here. They do have a major league franchise.
St. Louis.
No. All right, but
so.
I appreciate the guess. By a wide margin, the number 1 cursing city in America is Columbus, Ohio.
What? You know what? They curse at the Buckeyes or with the Buckeyes either way.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's an angry college football town.
Columbus, Ohio, far and away number 1, nearly 20% more cursing than the number 2 city in America, Las Vegas. I'm guessing all the people losing at the table. I don't know.
Those aren't Las Vegas natives losing at the table. Those are tourists.
I'm with you. By the way, 1 Florida city makes the list, good and bad. Okay. And it made the bad list where I now reside. The 3rd most cursing in America takes place in Jacksonville, Florida, which is difficult to believe. Although, if you followed the Jags for the last 20 years, maybe you could believe it.
And the Gators have been down. I mean,
and the city is geographically huge, and driving it is a bit of a So there you have it. The list is out. Oklahoma City, Dallas, Philly. They do a lot of cursing in those cities. DC, LA. But
so
yes,
LA swears more than New York and Boston.
Correct.
This list is a bunch of...
And more than Detroit and Chicago, too.
You've got to be kidding me.
You ever been in traffic in LA? If you've ever been in traffic in LA, you could see how it'd make the list. Okay. But then again, if we're basing it on traffic, Atlanta would be number 1.
You got that right.
So there you have it. Take it with more than a grain of salt. Yes, that's right. New York, Boston, Chicago, Detroit, amongst the least amount of cursing. But Columbus, Ohio, you blankety blanks.
That's something. I would
know.
have lost a lot of money sitting here trying to pick Columbus out of a hat with that one. That is that threw me.
Threw me as well. So there you have it. Just a little fun. All right. Do
Well,
you
good to know you're going to fit in your new hometown, David.
That's true. It's not like when I moved to North Dakota and it was second day there and I leaned on the horn and the person I was with go, "Yeah, we don't do that here." What? Then why do you have it in your cars?
So everybody in North Dakota has these things?
Literally, guy said to me, it's the first horn I've heard in 20 years. I go, drive with me a while.
So now you feel
it is true though. I pulled right up next to the guy, gave him the finger. He's like, "Yeah, we don't do that here." I go, "Well, you're going to have to make some allowances."
Miller and Moulton, not afraid to throw a bird out in any city.
Got that right.
Fargo, Jacksonville, Fort Myers, Naples. Maybe not so much anymore. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when and what's on tap. We'll finish things up with our final thoughts next on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yes, Bourbon. I moved. And Mark is well aware of my situation. And believe me, if you were in my situation, you would have moved too. Yeah, Adam, Mark is the Jags fan. The closet Jags fan. And Guillermo, listen, they count it in Spanish too, you know. I mean, we know when you're cursing, even if we don't maybe know all of the cursing, we know you're cursing. Toddlers cursing in Spanish. So let me get this straight. Do they talk normally in English, but they curse in Spanish? Because that would be outstanding.
I've got family on my daughter's soccer team, the twins, and the mom's from, I don't know if she's from Germany but she speaks German's her first language. And the two twins speak to each other in German. Now that's a son of a gun in the morning when they're like, what?
Yeah. Hey, come on now. Let us in on the joke. What's going on?
9 years old, and the two girls speak perfect, fluent German. Very so jealous
of
anybody that
bilingual?
speaks another language.
Well, in theory, Mark, it's why I took the 5 years of French. That didn't do me any good. That's funny. No, Mel, it was in high school. Junior high and high school, I took French. Oh, no, I've been to Sweet Pete's. I've been to Taco Lou. First off, I sent my daughter to Jacksonville to college, and she stayed here after college. And secondly, I've been coming to Jacksonville for a decade or more for FGCU, playing North Florida and Jacksonville.
Oh, okay, but no offense here. When they're giving you little sneaky spots, for you to go to a town and go to somewhere that's not a chain is a stretch.
I know. Plus, I come here every year for the cocktail party for, 17 years now. But Sweet Pete's is not far. The hotel that we almost always stay at for CBS is like 2 blocks from Sweet Pete's. Plus, I saw Sweet Pete's on one of those shows being profiled. I was like, oh, sweet.
Pete's.
30 seconds.
Mark, you'd be proud of me. I drove around yesterday, and I drove around not looking for chains. I drove around specifically to try to find, places, locals, shops.
Coming back.
Not chains. Turn over a new leaf.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Our final segment of the week. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Baseball playoffs get underway. Noon today, Rays and Guardians. 2 o'clock, Phillies and Cardinals. You're not going to believe this. It's on network television. It's on ABC. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Our good friends over at ABC7, they don't even have to think about the news before 5 o'clock. Hell, a playoff game, they don't even have to think about it until 5:30. They'll be lucky to get on the air at 6. But noon, 4 and 8 on ESPN. 4 o'clock games, Toronto, Seattle. 8 o'clock games, Padres and Mets.
Little crossover going on with baseball today, that's for certain.
Mm-hmm. I'm in, though. I'm excited. I'm not traveling until tomorrow morning because we have a primetime game, so I'm loving this day baseball.
Are you going to go somewhere so you can simultaneously watch baseball and hockey today?
I'm going to have a beverage. Yes, I am.
Look at you.
Think about it, about 2:20. There'll be 2 baseball playoff games on, and there'll be early first period of Nashville and San Jose. By the way, Mark, should we kind of honor our degenerate nature by placing a hockey bet today of some kind, even if we just bet the over-under on goals?
I like it. I might have to just bet the under on goals. Under in NFL games has been big. We'll see if it translates to the NHL early.
So there you have it. Big afternoon sports day.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1916 when Georgia Tech, coached by John Heisman, defeats Cumberland 222-0. Most lopsided score in the history of U.S. college football.
And it's really difficult to imagine it could even be challenged.
222-0.
Man,
that'll never happen ever again.
Man, talk about Air Coryell.
They couldn't throw a forward pass either.
No, I know. Man. Can anybody tackle?
That's a wing T right there. That's why Georgia Tech's been running this offense so long. We got 222 against Cumberland. 1935, the Tigers win their first World Series, beating the Cubs in 6 games. 1952, the first bandstand broadcast in Philadelphia. Dick Clark would join 3 years later. 1965, Robert Matera aces the 10th hole at Miracle Hills in Omaha, Nebraska to score the world's longest straight hole-in-one. 50-mile-an-hour winds helped him achieve the ace on the 447-yard 10th hole.
Where was this?
In Omaha, Nebraska, behind 50-mile-an-hour winds.
I was going to say, I was wondering if there was any altitude involved, but I'll be darned.
1968, the Motion Picture Association of America adopts the film rating system. 1971, the French Connection premieres. 1975, the Red Sox and Reds both clinch their Championship League series on the day, winning in sweeps to set up that classic World Series. 78, the Yankees and Dodgers both win their series in 4 games to set up a great World Series that I would lose money on. Yes, it was 1978, and I was 9 years old. But if memory serves me right, the Yanks jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and
other way.
Or Dodgers jumped out to a 2-0 lead.
Right. Yankees came back, won the middle 3, and then won Game 6 in L.A. Dodgers returned the favor 3 years later when the Yankees jumped out 2-0, and then L.A. won 4 straight.
Today at 82, Cats opened on Broadway, David.
I saw it a couple times. It's worth
Didn't close until September 10th, 2000.
Worth the price of admission.
Today in 84, the Padres beat the Cubs, ruining my chance to see the Tigers and the Cubs in the World Series. I would instead see the Tigers and the Padres.
Oh, man. Cubs are up 2-0 in the series, won both games at home. Had Sutcliffe going in Game 5. He was 17-1 that year, if you include Game 1 of the series. They were leading, and the ball went through Leon Durham's legs.
That same day, Walter Payton passed Jim Brown as the NFL's career rushing leader. Today in 86, this guy named Iserman, named captain of the Wings. He would be the captain for 1,300 games. 92, the Lightning become the first expansion team to win their opener. They did so 7-2. Today in 2008, Spotify was launched. And in 2012, Drew Brees breaks Unitas' record for consecutive games with a touchdown pass at 48. Those born today that are no longer with us: Elijah Muhammad, Desmond Tutu, and Tony Sperano. Those celebrating birthdays: Ollie North is 75. Nathaniel Rateliff is 74. I had no idea he was that old. Tremendously talented musician. John Mellencamp is 71. Putin is 70. Simon Cowell is 63. Tony Braxton is 55. Charles Woodson, 47. Evan Longoria, 37. And Mookie Betts is 30 years old today. And that is Today Was the Day When, except for whatever I missed, David.
Well, I don't know that you really miss much. There's a couple other footnotes. So, Sean Connery returned as Bond 39 years ago today. Remember, he played it in the late 60s. I think his last Bond was in 71. He came back to be Bond and Never Say Never Again on this day in 83. And Schwarzenegger becomes governor of California 19 years ago today. There were 150 people on the ballot because California did something that hadn't been done in 80 years and hasn't been done since. They recalled their governor, Gray Davis. And so it was literally a free-for-all. Schwarzenegger was one of like 10 actors on the ballot. But 19 years ago today, 03, Schwarzenegger becomes governor of California.
Uh-oh. I see headsets coming on young Felipe, which means there is bubble news to report.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing from the bubble today. 4 years ago, Khabib defeated McGregor. Conor McGregor, that is, to secure that lightweight title from him. Khabib has never lost. He's probably the greatest lightweight UFC fighter of all time. And Conor McGregor is a little overrated.
Well, since then, I mean, Mark, you would know this more than me. Has McGregor only won like one fight since?
Yes. I think he's only won one fight since that fight.
Hey, great little career he had. Great little moment.
He's still super popular.
And he made a ton of money,
with
hats off to him.
Lose.
Yeah. Yep.
And he doesn't need to fight.
No.
So, I'm surprised he hasn't been in a film yet.
He will be.
I know.
For sure.
I'm just surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Did you guys have Roy Halladay's no-hitter yesterday?
We did not.
It was the second no-hitter in playoff history 12 years ago yesterday.
It's kind of a day late.
Yeah, I know.
Today was the day when.
Mm-hmm.
First word.
Yeah, today.
It's not yesterday was the day when. Because
Nope.
it actually was.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Mark, pretty soon he's going to have tomorrow was the day was.
Hey, the good is one of our sponsors. It's Napa. They lost 2 of their locations due to Ian. They've teamed up with Napa Denver and Napa Tampa, as well as the Veterans Association, to fill a moving truck with $200,000 of living essentials for the Southwest Florida community. They have toilet paper, diapers, flashlight, batteries, water, non-perishable foods, cat and dog food, toothpaste, toothbrushes. And they will be giving it away at their Boy Scout location, as well as cooking free food all day, unlimited drinks and snacks. If you are one of those in need, stop by the Napa on Boy Scout and get a donation. It's that simple. All right. For the bad, we go to Jersey City, David, where Zamaya Johnson, 27, just wanted to get a job. So she applied for a job with the Hudson County Sheriff's Office. And they specialize in picking people that are wanted for outstanding warrants.
Oh, no.
So after she filled out her job application, they picked up on the warrant that she had for her arrest and arrested her immediately. She also had 2 stolen credit cards on her person when she walked into the sheriff's department to apply for a job.
Well, Mark, they're having trouble getting people to apply for jobs these days.
Got that right.
I mean, they have lowered the standards in certain occupations, but when you're wanted, they can't overlook that.
For the bad, we go to Mosick, Pennsylvania.
Music.
Is it Music? Okay.
It is.
It's such a bad sounding name. I thought they wouldn't pronounce it that way, David.
It's in Northeast PA.
Okay, and the Glenmora National Golf Club. A wedding was happening at the golf course, at the club. And a man and a wife got into an argument at the wedding. No idea why. But the man's wife decided she was leaving and got out of the car and started walking onto the golf course following their disagreement. he started pursuing in the car. He then crashed the car into a creek on the 17th hole. To everyone's surprise right now, police were called, and he was, and I quote, sober.
Wow.
Charges were not pressed, but the member who held the wedding is not allowed to hold an event at the club for 2 years.
That's not fair.
Someone's got to take the blame for an idiot. I mean, David, the clubhouse is on the 18th green. He crashed it into a creek on the 17th green. And I went creek right there. I didn't even go creek. I went creek.
I know you
Because
did.
it is Pennsylvania, after all.
Why don't you hold the person responsible?
He's not a member.
Well, so what? I mean, you didn't press charges. He drove a car on a golf course and crashed it into a crook. Okay, that's ridiculous. And you hold the member responsible? Come on, that's unfair.
Hey,
I mean, you're a member of a club.
Hey, if they'd have taken his golf away, I'd be on your side. They're just saying you can't have an event here for 2 years.
I mean, come on now. You're a member of a club. If I did that, if I drove on the course and crashed the car, they took your membership away?
Yeah, you're my guest. I'm responsible.
That's absurd.
Don't know what to tell you. But that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, October the 7th, 2022.
I think they're looking at it the wrong way. I think it'd be like, man, you should see the events Miller throws. I mean, he's got guests. They drive onto the course. They crash their car. I mean, that's who he hangs with. I mean, whenever he's partying, when he wants a Friday night card game, we got to go.
I can just see it too in the dark. Come on, honey, get back in the
Right. He's too busy looking at her and not looking at where he's going. He's driving on the golf course.
Bingo.
With a car, not a cart.
Correct again.
It's absurd. I'm sure it was at night.
Yes. Hence not seeing the rocks in the creek that he dumped the car into.
Come on, honey, get in the car. Honey, where are you going? Our room's back the other way. You
Lots
know, if
of
you
baseball today.
Yes, there is.
You're really honked off that the member got in trouble.
I think that's unfair. I'm also just trying. I mean, so the event was at the club. She starts walking all the way down. She's on 17. I mean, that's that's walking the whole length of 18 and then venturing over. I mean, that's a long walk. Where are you going?
It's a long walk. They basically took on a Twitter, they took a line of how long he drove this car. And it was a pretty good drive that he made.
Yeah, it was probably 700, 800, 900 yards.
That's at least 400 or 500 to get down 18 to 17.
Right. Come on, honey, get in the car. I'm sorry. Whatever it is, I'm sorry.
The fact that he was sober doing it is even more disturbing.
Yeah, I got to admit.
I think I'd have probably just left. You want to walk, honey. Knock yourself out. I'll see you at home.
Yeah, I think once I got to as far as the 18 tee, I'm like, well, honey, I can't turn around, Yeah, I'll just follow the cart path. I'll go back around and go the other way.
Cart pass only, David. Cart pass.
That's right.
Only.
Yep. Honey, I can't. We're going to violate the 90 degrees. Come on, get in the car. All right, so you're taking the Rays. I'm taking the two road teams in the National League to win their series.
I'm with you 100%, though. I think the series is tonight for the Mets. They've got to get game one.
Got to get Darvish.
That one's at 8 o'clock. At noon, the Rays and Guardians get it going for baseball. Phillies and Cards at 2. Mariners and Jays at 4.
Can the Dolphins and Bucks win division games that they both should win?
And Jags. Don't leave them out.
That is true. And Jags. Can they all win division games that they're all favored to win so that they can all remain in first place? That's what we'll find out.
Have a terrific weekend. Great sports weekend. Baseball, college football, and the NFL, and the NHL even starting, if that wets your whistle. We'll be back Monday morning, 6 a.m. Thanks so much for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,